Welcome to Yerba Talks.
I fucked up. Welcome to the Aftershow. I'm Max. This is Kat. And today we have Mega Aftershow from DebateCon. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. There were 3 debates today. We have a couple more tomorrow. So I know that many of you may not have watched it, given that you had to become a member. So we'll give you a summary of what went down. If you want to come on and have a chat and discuss the debates, the link is right there as usual. Before we get into it, make sure to do the social thing is like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send this to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your street, and yell, subscribe to Yerba Talks. And that way we can share the love for the channel. Bruce, no, I didn't go. I watched it online through the magic of the internet. All right. I need to open something up to remind me what the hell happened today. There we go. I think we'll do it on inverse order. We'll talk about the Daniel Hakikachu versus Andrew Wilson debate first, because it's the one that's fresher in my mind, and then we'll go through the motions. So, Andrew Wilson versus Daniel Hakikachu. I love that. I have been saying ever since I found out that debate was going to be awful and it was going to be great, and that's exactly what it was. Hello, Tay. So Daniel had a presentation, a bunch of memes, and had one that was particularly fun. It was Andrew dressed in the typical Orthodox priest kind of outfit. And also had a bunch of memes in the same slide of Andrew Wilson. And his argument was that Andrew Wilson kind of flip-flops between positions, and had a meme with like Andrew Wilson with like blue hair and nose piercings, and called him like a blue-haired libtard. And that was kind of funny. Basil, you're welcome. Remember our deal. Andrew Wilson and Daniel Hakikachu were debating Christianity or Islam, which is best for society. And Daniel's argument, it was on the weirder side when it comes to making an argument for your position. And I knew I kind of predicted it would go that way, because they both have the same debate style. They do not defend their position, rather they attack the other's position, which is certainly a strategy, but from the debate aspect, it always leaves me wanting, because even if you attack the other's position perfectly, you're still not making a case for your position. And that's what they both did. Daniel's argument was that Andrew really doesn't abide by the strict rules and norms that are set in the Bible. In short, Daniel called Andrew a reformist and that kind of a thing. And basically, Andrew is not conservative enough for Daniel. And we got some gems, like, for example, Andrew doesn't support slavery, with the understanding that Daniel thinks that slavery is good. And then, Daniel cited a bunch of statistics and so on, and yada yada. It was weird. And then we went to Andrew, and Andrew's argument. We didn't get to see Andrew's presentation, unfortunately. I don't know why. We did get Daniel's presentation on screen, but we didn't get to see Andrew's presentation for some reason. But Andrew's whole argument was that because of some practices of inbreeding in Muslim countries have lower IQ, and therefore Christianity is better. Which I don't know why that would be the metric for whether if a Christian society is better than a Muslim society. I honestly do not understand what that is about. Like, why is that the metric? I honestly don't know. Now, they had a period of rebuttals. They had a period of rebuttals in which they kind of just reasserted their position. They didn't engage much with some of the points made by the opponent, but that was to be expected because of their debate style. They will literally just not contend with the objections that the other side poses. In the rebuttal, Daniel touched on the IQ differences being mostly racial based, which is also a weird argument. But I think that's just me going from my own biases that I honestly see there are different ethnicities. Sure, we have different colors and yada yada. But I don't see race as being like an actual thing. To me, in my head, there's one race, the human race. And then we have, some people are lighter, some people are darker, some people are in the middle. And that's pretty much about it. The way that I like to think about it is that if you think of house cats, you have the regular house cat, and they come in all kinds of shapes and colors and whatever. And one could make an argument for like races in animals because we actually breed them to be like that, but it's nothing more than just a phenotypical expression of different characteristics, which I don't think it makes for a different race. But that is just 100% just my own personal biases on that topic. And then we went into the open discussion, which because of the way that they both argue, they had to be limited to like 90 seconds. And I don't feel that. I prefer a more organic, open discussion rather than the over-formatted thing. So it was a real... Ooh, Averax says, hello from Nashville. Ooh, nice. Hope you're having fun. So it pretty much went that way. It was Andrew just reasserting the IQ point over and over. And in a sense, Daniel pretty much trying to deflect into other stuff, kind of brought up some racist dog whistles. Basil asks, do you agree with the sausage fats, the factor of 99.9? Well, there was a moment, remember when Raquel was asking her question, there were 3 ladies on screen. So it might be 99.7 or maybe 99.5. So, but yeah, it's a very high sausage percentage. um, a lot of the room seems to be on Andrew Wilson's side. Mostly he has a very big audience. Ooh, Abarak says, I got FTFE, Rubik's, Borgen Pore, and Dr. Richard Carrier with me. Tell them I love them all. Tell them I love them all. This is a great point. I brought this up with FTFE the other day. That Rachel argues for going to traditional values. And it's funny that if we actually fulfilled her view to completion, she wouldn't be allowed to derp in public like she does, saying that feminism is some kind of occult witch thing. It is kind of funny. So in the open discussion, I think Andrew had the advantage. Daniel seemed a little bit more flaily and wasn't able to really contend with the IQ argument, to the point that Daniel ended up saying that he would prefer a lower IQ society, which it doesn't it does, like, how are you going to say that? Like, oh yeah, I prefer society, everyone to be dumber. It's a bad argument. It's a bad reflection. It's bad. It's bad overall. I can't believe that. So I don't know. It kind of pains me, but I think Andrew had the advantage. I'm not a fan of the ortho bro mechanism of just latching on to one point and just going to the same point over and over and over, despite and I've experienced this myself with Jim Bob, when I completely undid his argument and he kept going back to it because he didn't understand the fucking objection. So that's kind of the downside of having a one argument debate, is that you just sound like a broken record, and I'm not too big on that. I think that 3 arguments is the best. So I think that's my summary on that. I hope that the debates start getting released to the public soon, and when they actually get released, we'll do video reviews on those, because there were some interesting things said. Now, going backwards, one debate we had Inspiring Philosophy versus Richard Carrier. And I was kind of excited for that one. I am generally a fan of Dr. Richard Carrier. I do think he's wrong on the mythicist position, but I think the arguments are valid and they're well researched and everything. And I like him as a personality. But unfortunately, I think he's wrong on that. I would like his position to be the correct one. I would love it if that were the case. But having taking a deep dive into the mythicist position, I kind of was swayed away from it. Now, we started with Inspiring Philosophy, and in my notes, I wrote 3 words: quantum woo nonsense. I severely dislike these arguments. I think they're the lamest arguments for God. And if you have seen our previous review of my debate with Mr. Biscuit, it was kind of along those lines. They are hijacking physics, which they don't really understand, which are like high level physicists. And Basil is correct. Yeah. IP, the quantum field theory physicist. Yes. And they bring this idea of invoking quantum woo nonsense to make an argument for God, and I don't think that is just warranted in any kind of way. Hello, Roger. Um, he's partially right about the biases in IQ tests. IQ tests were used in the eugenics movements to determine who was fit. They always favored the wealthy white people. Yeah, but the difference is not the race. The difference is, in my opinion, the access to education. And if you're not struggling for survival, you're more likely to be more educated in the IQ sense. I honestly don't think that the argument is warranted from the IQ point of view. Oh, Basil. This is Richard Carrier. I have 12 college units of electronics engineering, and I'm an Ivy League historian of science. Nice. And read and compare with physicists often. So IP, it's lame. It's lame as fuck. And remember how I usually say that Witsit uses the fallacy machine gun as a deflection in pretty much all debates? I think IP uses the misplaced citations of like he just hijacks. So he uses the misplaced citations machine gun, and all he does is just throw out like 15 citations in a 15-minute opening. And there's no way that during a debate live you can actually fact check those. But in my experience, when you do fact check them, in general, they do not follow that. The argument doesn't follow. Just because you don't understand the quantum fields doesn't mean God. It's just kind of like hijacking an argument from physics and then making a God of the gaps argument. Megas Muirk, good morning, Wood. Morning, Wood. Don't do that. Anybody know when us cheap steaks can watch the debates? James has said that they will be released. To the public in the upcoming weeks, little by little. But to be fair, it was $15 for like 7 debates. I think it was a fair price to watch, and you get to collaborate to make it happen, give a little bit of income to the channel. So I mean, yeah, I was very happy when James told me that they would be broadcast live, even with my beard is, I need to trim the bottom. Oh, one thing I didn't say. I was kind of happy to say that I have a better Muslim beard than Daniel Hakikachu. That's just it. And then we went to Richard's opening, Dr. Carrier. And even though I agree with the position, I honestly have a really hard time with I have a really hard time with the multiverse hypothesis. It's very hard for me to invoke that. Let me address this. Proby, yes, I had a chat with Basil, and he is on, let's say, parole for a week. He has agreed not to antagonize people in the audience. He can antagonize me all he wants. That's fine. We're good. We're cool like that, because sometimes he makes funny jokes, and I like that. But he has promised not to antagonize the audience, and he will be on parole for about a week. And if he doesn't, then he can stay, and we can mod him up. Oh, the man, the legend, my friend, Isa. Let me just tell you, you were rocking the hell out of that shirt.
I sure was.
Oh my, it's just. Do you still have it on? Can you show us? Oh, you're freezing and you're
All right.
muted.
Yeah. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Yeah. I had a little issue. I'm gonna put it back on,
You got it.
and you can see it.
While you do that, Basil for $5. Thank you so much. Make Basil Problems. You will have a special stream to make Basil Problem a mod. He deserves it. Yeah, 1 week from today, and we'll see. You have to abide by our agreement, and we'll make that happen. No problem. Tay, Red. Tay, do you mind if I call you Red? I just love that. I don't have anyone I can call Red. I didn't watch the debates because Toon streamed earlier today, so I missed it. I was kind of interested, and I didn't have much interest in the other one that was showing up. Oh, let me make you big, Isa. Check that out. Oh my God, that is just fantastic. Look at that, dude. I am very proud of my freaking design. I am very proud. Thank you so much, Isa. You rock. I'll wait. I'll send one to Dr. J, and I'll get one for myself. And I do love it's the perfect sky blue for the Uruguayan flag. So all in all, I am ecstatic about that. Base of Problems says you should have insisted in getting your question in.
Yeah, a little tricky.
Yeah. The USA flag is a good touch. Yeah, because I mean, I'm Uruguayan, and Isa and Dr. J are American. Our audience is mostly American, so I thought, yeah, it's kind of a joint venture. So I thought it was apropos to address that. Isa, I'm starting from the last debate to back. I was actually going a little bit through the IP versus carrier, but we can double back. Give us some thoughts on the Daniel Hakikachu. No, Roger, hold on. I explained this. Basil and I have come to an agreement. He won't antagonize people for a week, so please don't time him out. I'll handle that, but he won't antagonize people. It's okay. All right, Isa, thoughts on the Daniel Hakikachu versus Wilson debate, please. You are muted.
Yeah, sorry. I think Andrew Wilson just destroyed him. I'm sorry. I don't think there was any competition. I think Andrew Wilson was far wittier. He was smarter. Daniel did his kind of same pleading type of thing of let's all get together and fight Jews and atheists, and he did what is that called? Calling for racist. He did the racist dog whistling. It was an epic fail. It was. I actually felt really bad for him. He did really bad. He did really bad. So.
Can I ask you? You were there in the room because we didn't get to see on the stream Andrew Wilson's presentation. What was there?
Oh, he had pictures of deformed people.
Oh, no wonder they didn't show it. Oh my. And I do agree that Andrew had the upper hand. I was just kind of not a fan of the one argument debate tactic and just going like continuously over it. And I think Daniel wasn't capable enough to actually get out of the IQ objection. And he ended up saying, and I prefer a society with less IQ. And that was kind of like, oh boy,
it was devastating.
Yeah.
It was devastating. No, I think Andrew is just, he knows how to do this. He knows how to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, he was on the attack. He didn't show us why. Like both were kind of on the same strategy, and that's why I said this debate is going to be awful and amazing because they both have the "don't defend my position, just attack the other position," right?
Yeah,
That
but
is,
I think that Andrew won that out though.
yeah, no, I do,
Yeah.
I understand that. It pains me to say it, but yes, he had a bigger advantage because Daniel couldn't get out of the whole IQ problem, and that's all on Daniel's fault. Basil asked for $5. Thank you so much. Isa, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is 1939 Germany, what's the vibe in the room?
1938 Germany.
So like a 9 or an 8. That's rough.
It's a tough situation. I thought it was interesting that I think they're conservative, but I think it's a different kind of conservatism. It's a different kind of
Yes.
conservatism than from because Daniel actually tried to get him into the racist position and it kind of failed.
Yeah, he didn't but take that bait. And the other argument that I made a note here, a quick summary. I was speaking with Chris, you are mobbed, and I did a quick summary of my first impression of the debate, and it was Daniel. Andrew Wilson is not conservative enough because he doesn't support slavery. And then Andrew's rebuttal is, we could genocide you all. And I was like, oh, that's a weird turn.
Well, I think I know why he's saying. He's saying, who are you to talk about morals? You're weak. You have nothing to offer. You're weak. Your society stinks. The debate topic is which society is stronger? My society that makes technology that,
it's better, not stronger.
Yeah, well, he's saying it's both. He's saying our society is stronger, it's better, it does everything your society can't. You're just an incompetent society that begs from the scraps from us. And I was like, dang.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
he's like, we're just a bunch of inbred, nasty pieces of crap. And he's like, wow.
Yes. But
Which Daniel didn't deny.
But when you're espousing that your Christian society is the best, and I've had people try this saying that the US is the best country in the world because they could literally invade Uruguay at any point and we could do nothing. And it's like, okay, so you're telling me that you have the biggest capacity for doing unimaginable cruelty, and you're telling me that's what makes you the best? I don't think that's the correct measuring stick for that. It is a strong position when arguing against someone who is like, oh, you're not conservative enough because you're not pro-slavery. That is a fair rebuttal against that position. It doesn't make the argument in like loosely, I would say.
I hear you.
Next we have Inspiring Philosophy against Richard Carrier. I wasn't feeling either side too much on that one, so I couldn't really give a pronunciation of who had the upper hand. My notes for IP were quantum woo nonsense. And for Richard Carrier, I honestly don't feel the multiverse option as a viable hypothesis for arguing against the God proposition. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think he had difficulty with the nothingness concept. He couldn't really get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't able to really escape that. He kept saying, like, well, here's the bubble, here's nothingness. I was going to ask the question, what is your probability that God does exist? Because you were saying there's multiverses, there's equal probabilities of all these things. So what is the probability of, like, the Christian God existing? And I don't know what percent he would put on that, but yeah, it was deeply philosophical, and it was not. I don't know if it really. I think there were parts where it's like, oh, this is kind of interesting, but I think overall, it's very, very erudite. You know what I mean? It's like it's just on a different kind of level of processing. So.
Greg, for £5, says, Max, ban Basil problems for the giggles, please. Love you. I love you too, my friend. But Basil and I have talked during the debate today, and he promised he is on sort of probation for a week. He won't antagonize the audience. He can antagonize me all he wants, because I'm not going to take that from him. But yeah, he has agreed to behave and be nice. So Basil, don't push it. And but I would also need people not to antagonize him. So let's all try, because Basil sometimes says funny stuff. Like, he made a really funny joke about me not going on boat trips, and I'm still laughing about it because it's fucking hilarious. So let's give him a chance. I say. Yeah, I wasn't really feeling it. The either of the arguments. I don't think it was. It was. I don't like those hyper philosophical debates and talking about nothingness and this and that. It's not my cup of tea. So I tried to put myself, okay, if I was not convinced of either position, I would still be in the I'm not convinced by either position.
Nice.
I
think IP was a little bit more charismatic. I think he was able. I think he swayed the. I mean, the audience obviously had a certain kind of bias, but I think he was able to sort of counter all of Carrier's positions if we're looking in the debate kind of scenario from that perspective. So I think it was harder. And Carrier even kind of admitted to, he's like, I never debated someone who was like really high level philosophy like this. So
yeah.
Yeah,
he is a little bit creative, but I honestly cannot get past the fact that the same thing that happened with my debate with Mr. Biscuit. It's all hijacking like research and saying, oh yeah, God, right? I don't vibe with that like at all.
I'm going to tell you my personal opinion. I don't really know how atheists and theists can debate. It's just two different worldviews. Like, it's a completely different kind of standard of reasoning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, how do you debate these two things? One grants that there is a supernatural power, the other one doesn't. We can't prove God is real. We can't prove God's not real. There's just no way. We don't, I mean, you could say, well, I don't agree with this kind of conception of God, but was there some ultimate power that's making everything happen? I don't know. I mean, it's hard I can't show one way or another because I don't have the toolkit to do that,
Yes. But that being said, I think that's because you are more honest in your position and you straight out admit, okay, this is a faith-based position for me.
Exactly.
It's not something that you can prove or disprove. And I go by like, yeah, I feel that my claim that God doesn't exist based on the fact that I've never seen anything supernatural be real, I feel that I'm justified in that. Can I prove definitively that God does not exist? No. Is it more likely to me than that God doesn't exist than God does exist? For sure. But again, I cannot like prove it. I do feel that I'm justified in saying God doesn't exist, but it's a weird like interaction between two worldviews. The problem is that a lot of these people would argue, oh, God 100% exists, right? And that's where it starts getting a little bit murky. I have Pavle sent me something I'm gonna share with you guys in just a second. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Sorry, it's loading. This is the way to. This is watching Yerba Mate Talks the Uruguay way. So thank you so much, Pavle, for that. Oh, I need to remove the mantras. And then we had the Jake Rattlesnake versus Planet Peterson on the stream. It started a bit late. We didn't get a chance to actually watch the openings for them. The stream started when they were already in the open discussion portion of the debate. So, do you mind?
I'm going to tell you
No,
something
he's
funny.
drinking Sillertal.
I went to the other debate. There was another debate at the same time. AP debated Junior in the back room.
Oh, I thought that was happening tomorrow.
No, that happened today. That was in the back room. So I went to that debate.
Wait, but are they having another debate tomorrow? Because it is scheduled on the stream.
I'm not sure.
Or maybe maybe they can just rebroadcast. Craig, good luck. Enjoy the party.
I met Planet Pearson. He's a cool dude. Or Eric.
I've been trying to get him for an interview for months, and he never replies to any of my freaking messages.
He's probably busy, you know.
I know, but come on.
Me and AP hung out a lot. Yeah, me and AP are kind of buddies, so.
Oh, I've been watching. There seems to be some drama between David Wood, AP, and Sam Shamoon.
Yeah, I met Sam Shamoon too.
I don't like Sam Shamoon.
Sam Shamoon is a little bit vulgar.
A likable person.
He's a bit vulgar, and I'm like,
yeah,
just saying. Look, I don't mind. I don't think cursing is bad. Like, but when you curse people and you call people like
dogs
and stuff, like it's really nasty. It's really really nasty. That's not a way to talk to people, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah. It's weird. Do you want to give us a rundown of what you heard in that debate, and we'll skip the openings, and I'll talk about the other part of the
sure.
Of the Peterson.
I heard them cheering. I was there kind of in the beginning. You know, Jake has. Just from giving a synopsis, I heard a little bit. Jake has. I think these Orthodox brothers are quite. They kind of have their niche and they're kind of brilliant at it. That's just my opinion. They're very good at poking holes. They do kind of like what Daniel does. And they're quite charismatic and charming. I think this is what they do. And they bring this type of package and it works, you know. It might not work for everyone, but definitely works for their audience. And that's who they're there for. They're there for their fans. They are for atheists. They're here like saying, look, you live in a corrupted world. And I mean, I get their position. I mean, we do have problems in society. There's definitely issues, and they're like, look, our worldview brings a better society than yours does. Yours is in decline. It's in decay. And I think that's pretty much, if you're going to look at any of them, that's their argument. We're in a society of decay, and having good Christian values will help us. And bad, atheist values will be put in the gulag. So, you know.
Today it was a weird because Jake did the dumb shit that Andrew did, and he was arguing for authoritarian Christian humanism, and it's like, motherfucker, defend your actual position. Holy shit. I hate that those scummy tactics in debates. And then he was basically saying that democracy is authoritarian. And he's like, no, fuck it, no. And I think that's just lame. I did like Planet Peterson's interactions with Jake. He asked a bunch of questions that Jake flat out refused to answer because he was stuck on his silly argument of authoritarian Christian humanism, and it just fails. So tell me about the AP versus Junior debate.
I don't know. It's been hard for me seeing Islamic debaters. I feel an empathy to them, but there's also a lot of trauma when I'm listening to them. I'm like, my God, it's very similar. It's like similar to Daniel, our society, we are going to have good marriage. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't mean to be rude, but like my field is South Asia. That's what I love to talk about. So they brought up Pakistan, my favorite topic, Pakistan and Bangladesh. These countries are in horrible disarray. What Andrew said is that's just the icing on the cake. There's trafficking of women. Millions of women are trafficked in a lot of these places. 1 million women are trafficked in Bangladesh. Okay, I don't know if you know that, but there's a lot of trafficking of women. There's throwing of acid in women's faces. There's what do you call
I
it? Like
do
sex.
remember, if I might add, I do remember back when the World Cup was in Qatar, the slave labor of people getting tricked into going to work in Qatar, people from Bangladesh and the surrounding areas, and they were pretty much in modern slavery conditions with their passport taken away so they couldn't leave, and a
Yeah.
bunch of them died. Like, it was bad. Yeah, I know a little bit about that.
And it's deeply problematic.
Yeah, it's definitely not the best.
And
So
I'm concerned.
what was the debate topic for that one? Which is better, Christianity or Islam?
Yes.
Okay.
And not Christianity. Is Islam the only true religion? And so like
Oh, okay. So they're probably having another debate tomorrow, because tomorrow is which is more violent, Islam or Christianity? That's what's scheduled on the stream list.
the thing is, Palestine gets brought up a lot, and I have a lot
Mm-hmm.
of empathy for Palestinians and Palestine. But there's something that I also care about. I care about Jews and I care about Israel. And I think I hate to say this, there's not, particularly on the left in a lot of places, there's not a lot of advocacy for Jews and even trying to understand the Jewish condition and like what Jewish people are going through. People insult Gal Gadot, they insult all these people and say, look how bad they are. And I'm like, these people are struggling. Like you don't know their condition. You don't know the fear they're going through. The only reason it doesn't look bad is because you just don't see casualties. So that's what it makes it seem like, oh, these people are oppressors. These people all have bomb shelters. I don't know if you know that every house has a bomb shelter there. And it's like,
Yes.
and they spend so much money on that. So they have less casualties because they invest in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, me and AP might do a debate where we defend Israel. Like, I do take that position, like where I feel that Israel has a right to exist. I don't think it's perfect, like no country's perfect, but it's like I
True.
think people are very unfair to Israel. Like they're extremely unfair to Israel and they don't give Israel any chance. They're just like it's apartheid, it's evil. And I'm like, what about Pakistan? Can we talk about Pakistan? No, Pakistan is fine because it's a brown country. So like we have this weird way that we operate where we're like, well, because they're poor and they're brown, they get a pass. And I'm like, no, everybody needs to be accountable. Like that's my worldview. Everyone needs to be. I don't care. Being brown doesn't give you a pass from if you do bad things. You know what I'm saying? So, and I hear that there's this weird like power thing. They're like, well, because they have less power, um, that means that they're good people. They have a right to do things. And I'm like, no, it's just not.
Mm-hmm.
So in this debate, it was about Palestine. Basically, Junior brought up about Palestine, and he said this person supports genocide. And I don't know. I don't think anybody, like any person I know who supports Israel, does not support that. But there's might be questionable things that you can unpack with this. But it's so like he wore the F Hamas shirt, right, on the debate,
Oh boy.
and I actually agree with AP. I don't think Hamas is good. I think they are a terrorist organization. But
Yeah.
Junior's like, well, they're a resistance, and I'm like, um, I can't say that. I can't say that they're a resistance. I think they're
No,
deeply, deeply problematic.
it is there is like a saying that one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist,
You're correct.
and the sentiment is there. Now, in today's world, I don't think there's any more room for like violent insurrection, violence, and I don't think violence ever achieves the goal that is proposed, right? So so I don't know. I think in the modern world, one would resolve things through diplomacy and I think that we kind of need to learn to coexist. There's a bunch of people that want to occupy the same geographical area, and we need to come to an arrangement of how the hell are we going to do this and stop, the violence and that kind of stuff. I would be one of those people that I do agree with you that the Jewish people of Israel and the non-Jewish people, like the Israelis, have a right to exist. Like they're there. I don't think that what are we going to do? Just remove them from there?
Exactly.
No. But I also think that the other people have a right to live also.
I'd agree. I totally agree with that. I take the position usually of the two-state solution. I think that is I think that's an important thing. And it's going to be a hard route, because October 7th happened. But the thing is, like, we're not being accountable, and we're just like, and he was like, for 77 years this existed, and I don't know. I felt a bit uncomfortable. I talked to him personally. He's a nice guy. It's just, it's hard. It's a lot of trauma, and there's a lot of pain, but blaming Israel, blaming Palestinians, that's not the way. That's not the way, and it's not going to bring peace, and it's just too simplistic. But it's tough. And in the Muslim world, Israel, people have a lot of problems with Israel. But I mean, I'm going to be transparent as a person who's traveled. Israel's the place that has minorities. Like, you go to Pakistan, minorities are not protected. And even if you're a Muslim minority, you're not protected. If you're Ahmadiyya or Ismaili or Ithna Ashri, like Shia, you're not protected there.
Right.
And imagine if you're a Hindu or a Sikh, like, it's not. It's not good.
Or an atheist, or
if you're an atheist, it's horrible. Yeah, let's say you're an atheist from a Muslim family. Oh gosh, that's horrible. You're in a very bad place. Yeah.
All right. Welcome, Big Lick Drew, and let me read a couple of super chats. Basil Problems for $5. What Fred Perry outfit do you think Craig will be wearing tomorrow? I don't care about fucking clothes. I just grab whatever it's clean and I put it on, and that's it. Basil Problems. Isa, are you in room 627? James wants to know. Thank you for the $2.
No, I'm in 425.
And Paulay for 750 Uruguayan pesos. Hey, comrades, drop a like, sanguijuelas, which is leeches. And it's what I think it's what Vegeta said in the Latin translation of Dragon Ball. All right, Big League Drew, hello.
What's going on, brother?
Don't call me brother, please.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'll call you brother if I want. I don't know why you get so upset about it.
No,
you challenged me in the live chat like I was.
Yeah, you're going to shut the fuck up right now. So we're going to start by some rules. My name is Max. You and I don't have enough rapport for you to call me brother. The only person that I actually let call me brother is Isa. So, I mean, respect my wishes or it's not going to end well. Because I'll just kick you out if you can't abide by a simple rule of just use my fucking name.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah, that's fine. But
all right.
I mean, you're making a big deal about it. It'd be no different than me calling you dude or anything else. So I don't know why you're taking such offense to a certain word like that.
It doesn't matter why I take such offense. I just don't like it. So don't call me brother and we'll be cool. So good job. All right.
All right. Well, I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, you challenged me to a conversation, and the first thing you said, yeah, I can. Well, clearly, but you're crying about it now, and I just say it's weird to challenge someone to a debate and then have them come on, and then the first thing you do is mute them and tell them that you're going to kick them out.
Yeah, you're in my house, bitch.
I'm not in your house. I'm in my house.
See? No, you're in my house.
You have a green screen up.
It's my house.
That's a green screen.
Yeah, but you're in my house. Oh boy, you really don't understand humor, do you? This is my house and Isa's house.
That's not a joke. Where's the humor? It's
and this is the thing. So
I told you I'd come on here and talk to you about the breakfast question and then how you don't even understand it. You're sitting here calling people dumb.
No, you don't understand the breakfast question. I told you, the idea of the breakfast question is to see if someone can entertain a hypothetical. The problem is that there's a baked assumption in the question that everyone has breakfast. So when you ask the question to someone who actually doesn't have breakfast,
not true. You can still answer the question in a hypothetical. No, you don't.
No, you break the question.
That's not true.
You break the question.
That's not true at all.
Yes, that is true.
Would you like me to give you an example of how that's not true?
Yeah, sure. Try it. You're gonna fail. But okay.
For example, if I didn't eat breakfast and someone asked me how I'd feel if I didn't eat breakfast, I could just say, "Well, I think I would feel fine," or it could say it depends on what I ate the night. No, you said, but I don't eat breakfast. You answered it in a literal sense, and you didn't let me finish.
I said I feel fine. You could also say,
you answered in a literal sense. I'm just saying, you could say it depends on what I ate the night before. Did it have a lot of calories? You answered it in a literal way, which means that you didn't comprehend the hypothetical and was asked to you. And you tried to retroactively change how you answered the question.
It just doesn't apply to me. You can go back and
watch it. Does. It's a hypothetical. It applies to everyone. That's the thing. So you don't understand.
It doesn't apply to everyone. You can't ask a question with a baked assumption and pretend that everyone accepts the baked assumption into the question. Dumbass.
No, that's not true. It's a hypothetical question, so you can answer it hypothetically.
Oh my God, you're spiraling.
The problem is that you don't understand hypotheticals.
You don't understand the baked assumption into your own fucking... You idiots, you orthomorons don't understand what a baked assumption into a question is. Let me ask you this.
You're assuming the answer has to be I'd be hungry, and that's just not true.
Let me ask you this. If I ask you this question, now that you finally admitted that you killed your wife, how are you feeling today? Do you think that you can answer that question even if you're feeling okay? No, because there is a baked assumption in the question that you killed your wife. So if you answer, you're admitting that you killed your wife, you fucking moron.
No, because you said hypothetically, how would you feel if you killed your wife? Now I'd probably feel pretty upset.
No.
Oh, I can answer that because I can.
On top of being a dumbass, you're deaf. I told you, now that, listen carefully, absolute moron. Now that you've admitted that you killed your wife, how are you feeling right now?
I never admitted that I killed my wife.
Dumbass, that's a baked assumption into the question. So that means that you cannot answer that question.
That's completely different. You could ask me how I'd feel if I killed my wife. You're saying you killed your wife, now how do you feel? I mean, either way, I would still feel. I could still say that I feel sad. No, I don't think you understand. You're demonstrating that you don't understand the hypothetical, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the breakfast question. Showing that
you don't understand basic words.
I understand them very well.
This is the problem with you orthomorons. You have one neuron, and
all you do is insult people. You know, when you insult people.
My house.
Yeah, the loser of the debate usually results at retorts ad hominem. You know that, right?
Yeah, sure. It's not an ad hominem. It's an insult. You don't know fallacies. Don't try.
Oh my God, dude.
Don't try the fallacy game with me.
What is ad hominem?
I'm not saying that your argument is wrong because you're dumb. I'm just calling you dumb.
Yeah, because you're not addressing my actual arguments. You're attacking me. That's ad hominem.
No, I'm just calling.
Then what is it? What is ad hominem?
That is just something I do.
What is ad hominem?
An ad hominem is say that your argument is wrong because you're dumb. I'm not saying that. I'm just calling you dumb. That's just an insult. It's not an ad hominem.
An ad hominem is when you're not responding. No, an ad hominem is when you don't respond to the argument.
No. You're wrong about, jack shit about fallacies, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. The same way that you do not understand the appeal to authority fallacy, you don't understand this other fallacy because you're not smart. Stand forward. There we go. Give me just a moment. Stand for Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Fallacies. The ad hominem fallacy involves bringing negative aspects of an arguer or their situation to bear on the view that they're advancing. There are three commonly recognized versions of the fallacy. The abusive ad hominem fallacy involves you saying someone's worldview should not be accepted because they have some unfavorable property. The Thompson proposal for the wetland may safely be rejected because last year she was arrested for hunting without a license. Another more subtle version of the fallacy is the circumstantial ad hominem, in which, given the circumstances in which the arguer finds him or herself, it is alleged that their position is supported by self-interest rather than by good evidence. The third version of the ad hominem is the tu quo que fallacy, involves not accepting a view or recommendation because the espouser does not follow it. I didn't do any of the three. I just called you a moron.
Yeah, like I said, you're not responding to my argument. You're just insulting me.
I did respond to your, but we're in agreement that I did not ad hom you, correct?
No, we're not.
Okay, you're dumb.
Okay.
I just demonstrated how you're wrong. I never said your argument is wrong because you're dumb. I just said you are dumb. That's an insult.
Do you ever watch your own streams back?
Retard.
Yeah. Do you ever watch your own streams back?
No, why would I do that?
Yeah, you should. You should see what people say about you, because if you think that I'm the one that's dumb, dude, that is absolutely
you are
crazy.
Dumb. You're literally losing the debate, bro.
What's the debate about?
You failing. Right now we're arguing.
Question.
Right now I called you a moron, and you said
that's not a debate.
Ad-homing me.
That's not a.
And I
that
was
is.
like, no, I'm not ad-homing you. I just insulted you, and you're too stupid to realize the difference. I showed you from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, and you failed. You failed.
Yeah. Okay.
And you do not even understand the purpose of the question, and you cannot contend with the fact that your hypothetical has a baked-in assumption that assumes that everyone has breakfast. So when you ask me, how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast? To me, it would be a normal day because I never have breakfast.
Okay, but then you could say I would feel fine. You said
that's what I said.
You said
moron.
I don't eat breakfast. No, you said I don't eat breakfast.
No, I would feel, dude. You can go back to the debate. You're just
I actually tried to find it. I couldn't find it, to be honest with you. But I remember what you said, and the point is,
no, you don't remember what I said.
I do.
No, you don't. Then I'm
you
going
said
to
I
prove,
don't eat breakfast.
I'm going to prove you wrong again.
Please do. I'd love to see it.
Yes. Give me 1 second, because we're going to pull it up and you're going to be embarrassed.
I'm not going to be embarrassed.
Yes. I just embarrassed you with the at-home thing.
I'm not embarrassed at all.
Yeah, because you're very not self-aware.
No, I just don't get agitated like you do. You're clearly bothered. You were bothered the second I came in here.
I'm not agitated.
You absolutely were. You threatened to kick me out as soon as I got in here because I called you brother. Like, and
yeah,
and I asked you.
I told you don't do that, and you were like, "I will do that."
You're crying, dude. You're like unhinged.
Do you want to?
You're unhinged.
Do you want to see if you're going to do that or not? Do you like? Would
you
like to test your power against mine, like right here, right now?
My power? I don't care if you kick me out, dude. You challenged me to a debate, and I came here to talk to you.
Yeah, I challenge you to a debate on the Bible.
Okay, and you're wrong. And you're wrong about that as well. And like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Yes.
I'm not wrong about that.
Then let me speak. When you said that the law is, you still have to follow the Old Testament law. That's
what God says.
That's objectively incorrect.
No, that is incorrect.
It is, and it's not widely accepted in Christianity either.
Yeah, because you're a bunch of liars.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is the thing. There's no point even talking to you, because all you do is yell and insult people, dude.
You do not worship God. You worship Paul, because it's Paul who says that you're not meant to keep the law. Well, I gave you the verses on Matthew. I think it's Matthew 24, that no time will pass and not one word will be struck from the law. And this is Jesus speaking, which you also claim to be God. Not one word will be struck from the law before these things.
Here's the thing. I don't claim Jesus is God. I never said that, and I never said that Jesus is speaking in Matthew. And there's a lot of controversy about that as well. See, this is the thing. I try to tell you. You assume what I believe, and you don't even know anything, dude. You don't even know who I am.
Right. but that's the default. That's a Christian view. What I'm telling you is that your interpretation of the Bible is just
it's
wrong.
a default Christian view that the Old Testament law is not strictly followed like you're saying it is.
Yes, because you're liars. Because you lie. Because you don't read the fucking book. Because everywhere you look, God says over and over and over and over again that the law is meant to be kept forever. You fucking liar.
That's actually not true. Have you ever searched
liar?
Have you ever searched the contrary of your position?
Liar.
Instead of just having confirmation bias?
Liar.
Confirmation bias?
Liar. So we're going to do that. And we are going to prove you wrong again. Boom, boom, boom. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. You're so easy mode. And just know that even though you kind of mute yourself, I turned your volume all the way down. No one can fucking hear you. Verses on God's law. So if we have God saying over and over and over and over that you're meant to keep the law, and then we have Paul coming to say like, oh no, it's okay, you're not meant to keep the law. Between Paul and God, I don't know. If you want to worship Paul and be called a Pauline, then I have no problem with that. If you want to actually worship God, then, I mean, you should maybe go by what God says over and over again in the law. God's laws are pure, eternal, just. They're more desirable than gold, sweeter than honey, etc., etc. Let me pull up. That's one. Let me pull up more. Let me pull up the quote that Jesus said. That's Matthew 5. 1 second. Matt 5. Full chapter. Matthew 5:17. All right. Don't misunderstand. I have come. Oh shit! Let me put it on screen. Don't misunderstand. I have come to don't misunderstand why I have come. It isn't to cancel the laws of Moses and the warnings of the prophet. No, I came to fulfill them and make them all come true. With all the earnings I have, every law in the book will continue until its purpose is achieved. And so if anyone breaks the last commandment and teaches others too, he shall be least in the kingdom of heaven. But those who teach God's law and obey them shall be great in the kingdom of heaven. So there you go. Two verses that tell you you're meant to keep the law forever. How do you choose? How do you take Paul saying that you're not meant to keep the law over Jesus and God saying that you are meant to keep the law forever? You're unmuted now.
I already put it in chat, dude. So you're not even trying to have a fair conversation. That's why you keep muting me.
I did. This is not. You're in my house, bitch.
I'm not in your house.
You
invited me. You invited me here anyway.
In my house. This is my channel, you moron. It's a whip. It's a joke.
It's not a joke. You don't understand the definition of joke. House. You just say joke and you don't even know what it means.
Retard. This is my house.
Okay, buddy.
Everyone understands when I say that. Okay.
Okay.
And I tell you, oh my fucking cat, I'm telling you, you're choosing Paul over God, and you quote me Ephesians 2:15. And you're doing the exact thing that I'm telling you you're doing, which is choosing Paul over God. So you're not a Christian. You're a Paulinist, which I don't have a problem with. But don't tell me that don't tout yourself as a fucking Christian.
What? Because you're citing Psalms and Leviticus and whatever else you cited?
Yes, that's God talking.
Is it? Did he write the book? Who wrote the book?
Wait, the Bible is not the word of God?
So then is Ephesians not the word of God? Or is it Paul?
No, those are the words of Paul.
So why is that the word of Paul? And if the Bible's inspired by God, why is that one Paul and the rest of it's not?
You tell me. What then? If you
you said it, you made the claim.
If you think that God is that Paul is also inspired by God, then why does God contradict himself, dummy?
I never said that the Bible didn't contradict itself, because I would say that there are probably places it does. Again, I never made that claim.
This is one. God says you're meant to keep the law forever, over and over, and then Paul says no.
No, I don't actually think that the verses that you cited actually say that. And I think if you take things into context,
I showed it to you, liar.
Dude, okay, the resolution on this screen in here is like shit, and you muted me, so I couldn't respond as you read the verses. So
the verse it's still on screen.
Because the first I can't read that. It's like the resolution is like shit.
I read the verse, dumbass. Keep up. Dude, like you're serious. You're not going to win this argument here. Don't misunderstand. And do you have a preferred Bible version? Because I just grabbed whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Don't misunderstand why I have
what
come.
Book is this?
To cancel the laws of
Matthew?
Moses. This is Matthew 17. Dude, you're very slow. This is annoying. Please keep up. Don't misunderstand why I have come. It isn't to cancel the law of Moses and the warnings of the prophet. No, I came to fulfill them and to make them all come true. With all the earnestness I have said, every law in the book will continue until its purpose is achieved. And so if anyone asks, breaks the least of the commandments and teaches others to do so, and that's the 613 Mosaic laws, by the way, not the 10 commandments. This is all of the laws. He shall be the least in the kingdom of heaven, but those who teach God's laws and obey them shall be great in the kingdom of heaven. What's going on with the... I mean, at this point, I'm ready to take a concession. It's not that hard.
No, I'm not going to concede to you. I would have to...
Yeah, I know, because you're a fucking liar.
What did I lie about?
No, mods are 100% allowed to block you, especially if you're spurging out.
What did I lie about?
You're lying about what God says.
No, I don't think I am.
This is very simple. There is no counter argument to this.
No,
you can tell me I choose to believe Paul over God, and that's fine. And
you can't even answer why is if the Bible is divinely inspired, why is Paul and not God, but the rest of the Bible is God? The other thing is that you can't just cherry pick stuff. I know there's a context, and I don't have the verses pulled up to like show you the context, but what I can tell you is that it's why I do, but. Dude, you're Googling. You're Googling. You didn't cite anything off the top of your head either. You've been Googling everything.
Yeah, I don't memorize.
You go to I'm Right. You go to I'mRight.com and you Google everything, and it's confirmation bias. So I'm saying, well, you need to look. Yeah. Okay.
So you're coping now. You're coping now. Address the topic.
You won't even let me speak.
Address the topic. Why do you believe Paul over God or Jesus?
If the Bible is divinely inspired, why is when Paul's speaking not divinely inspired by God, but the rest of it is?
I don't say that the Bible is inspired.
Okay, so then who wrote this book? God didn't write the book then,
You don't understand that this is an internal critique. I don't need to believe the Bible. I'm just going by your standards. We have three people speaking here. We have God, we have Jesus, and we have Paul. Why does Paul take precedent over God and Jesus? Answer the question. And let me just tell you, you're derailing the after show.
I'm not derailing anything, dude.
Yes, you are derailing the after show.
No, because I actually came in and talked to you about the breakfast question, but you invited me here. You invited me here, and I'm here, dude.
I already schooled you on that.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did school you on that. You do not understand that there is a baked assumption in your question. I gave you the analogy
of I understand what you're saying,
and
I reject.
Flailing. You're flailing again.
I'm not flailing.
Yes.
And what I'm telling you is that it's widely accepted by Christians that the Old Testament law is not strictly followed, and there's also a differentiation between the moral law and the civil law and the societal law, and it's split. Okay, and so for you to tell me that the Christians have to follow the Old Testament law is ridiculous because it's widely accepted that it's not.
It's not me that I'm telling. It's dumbass.
Jesus was the fulfillment of the law.
Dumbass.
He was the perfect.
Dummy. It's not me who is saying this.
You can keep insulting me all you want.
It's not me who is saying this.
I can cherry pick the Bible too and show you where it shows that I'm right as well, and I already did. I already put it.
It's not me who is saying this. This is Jesus speaking, which in the same book, Jesus is claimed to be God in the Gospel of John. So if Jesus is God and God himself is telling you that you have to obey the law, the full law, not, dude, it's, if anyone breaks the least commandment, that means if you break even one law, Jesus, I know Jesus isn't God, but the book, that's what the book says in the Gospel of John. So you clearly don't read the Bible. You know jack shit about what you're trying to argue with me. And you just got schooled in your own religion by a fucking filthy, barefoot, third worlder atheist. You should be embarrassed. You should never get out of your house again. Now I'm going to unmute you so you can spurg out and cope harder.
Well, there is no cope. I'm not a Christian. It's not my religion, and I never said it was.
And then why are you arguing with me about shit you know nothing about?
That's not true. I do know about it, and you asked me to come debate.
No,
you asked me to come debate you. That's not true. Dude, you didn't listen to anything I said.
You just demonstrated you know nothing about the Bible.
Stop muting me, dude.
No.
It's impossible to talk to you. This is why no one talks to you, dude. This is why no one talks to you.
No one talks to me, really.
This is why everyone, dude, go back and watch all the streams you've been on in modern day. Everyone gets upset with you and no one likes talking to you. Just look at the fucking chat. Like, this is crazy. You're acting like a child. Just have a conversation with somebody.
Nah. I don't like liars. I don't like liars, and I don't like people who know nothing about the topic they're arguing. When I demonstrated, you know jack shit about fallacies, you know nothing about the Bible, you do not understand Christianity in the slightest, and I understand that it is the doctrine that you're not supposed to keep the law. But my contention is that the doctrine is wrong because Christians have always been liars. Jesus was a liar and a fraud. Jesus didn't know the Bible, didn't know the Old Testament, and that's it. Like, you know nothing. You refuse to address the points. Like, you argue about petty stuff like you ad homing me, and you don't understand. That was so much fun.
I want to actually bring up something that came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that our good friend Daniel Hakikachu attacked our beautiful place of South America?
Yes, I saw that. He said, like, are they doing tech in South America? Like, motherfucker, Uruguay exports like tech people to the whole fucking world.
Well, and guess what? Argentina is doing AI, and all that stuff was lies.
Yeah.
And he's like, look at these poor South Americans. Like, he was like, let me attack the South Americans. And I was like,
yeah.
And you're wrong. And
I lost it a little bit.
The Christian, and I'm like, the Christians of South America are probably not completely fanatical either. No. And it's interestingly, he was insulting Mexico. He was insulting, Costa Rica, Central America, South America. He's like, let me attack these places. And I'm like, dude. And Andrew was right. I'm sorry. I have to give Andrew props again. He's like, these countries are doing better than Pakistan and Bangladesh. They are. Pakistan and Bangladesh are hellholes right now. I'm sorry.
Compare like one of the most Christian countries in South America is Chile, and Chile has a very high standard of living. And Uruguay
under the bus. I was like, great, man.
Uruguay is 45% atheist, and we are the best. The only one that are kind of fighting among us is like Chile, but Chile has gold, silver, lithium, and a bunch of natural resources that Uruguay doesn't have. Uruguay sells soy, cattle, and we export football players and people with brains. Those are our 4 main exports.
You're cute. I wanted to say, though, I really felt that Daniel was very racist. Like, I have to actually bring it up. I think Andrew did a very good job not looking like racist. He was like, look, these countries are doing bad because they're inbreeding. And I actually was going to, that was my question I was going to ask. I'm like, Daniel, first of all, you did race realism, which I think is sickening, but you were like, well, race, if people of different ethnic groups get married together, their children will have lower IQ. I'm like, what evidence do you have for that? Actually, it's opposite. Genetically, children of mixed ethnic backgrounds do really well. Like, I come from a mixed ethnic background, and I think I'm doing pretty well. You know what I mean? My family actually did marry pretty close to home, both of my sides of my family, which I don't think is great. I think we should go and reach out to different cultures and different spaces. I think that's a good thing. But he was like, no, it's good to keep it in the family. And I'm like, it's kind of gross. Like that idea of like, let's keep it in the family. And he was just totally fine with it. And I was like, oh, kind of gross. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just was like, and when he was racist to South, like, I'm sorry, we're going back to that, but he was prejudiced to South America. That made me mad because I'm like, he's attacking you, so he's attacking me, familia. I'm not okay with that. I actually was thinking about asking you about that too. And AP was like, what about if everybody converted to Islam and then left in this room? What do you think should happen to them? I was like, there are problems. I think Andrew made a good point. And which Islam is going to take over? It's going to be the Islamic perspective that's the most violent. And they made a joke about London, you know?
Yeah, that's true. What is you are more familiar with Daniel? Like what kind of Muslim is Daniel? Because I can't really place
So
him.
he's on the conservative branch. He would be closer to Salafi.
But I've seen him argue against the Salafi Wahhabi.
So, but it's more like infighting. Like I don't think
they are not the correct type of Salafi.
So, like in the Sufi world, Sufis are very. I don't know if you're familiar with a lot of the Sufis, but like Rumi, Hafiz, a lot of them are poets.
John, 1 second, John. There's something wrong with your mic. It has like a really annoying buzz. Sorry, Isa, go on.
No, it's okay.
No, sorry, it's probably my webcam. 1 sec, I'll be back.
Sufis are more ecumenical, and they're more accepting of different things. And it's funny. He was talking about Islamic civilization. Most of those were Sufi people. They were not Salafis. These are people who believed in Greek philosophy. They believed in ecumenicism. They were much different. Like, it's funny that Salafi Muslims will claim Sufi history, but they will say that Sufis are heretics. And it's a very bizarre situation. I'm like, you're taking your whole history of all those mathematicians would have been fitting under Sufis. You know what I mean? Like Al-Khwarizmi, all these people would have been, if they weren't Sufis themselves, they were Sufi adjacent. None of them were Salafis.
Right.
Because Sufis are open to other ideas. Salafis are not. Salafis do not believe. They say the Quran and the Sunnah is it. We don't need modern sciences. We don't need any of that. We have the Quran and the Sunnah are science. And I'm like, oh God, it's. And I actually you and I wanted to debate that. We were like,
oh my, yes.
Let's debate: is the Quran scientific? And then my goal, what I would do. So I'm getting a degree in science, and I'm getting associates in allied science. So I took a lot of hard science classes. I just had a bio exam yesterday. I did pretty well.
Nice.
So yeah, that was what I had to do last night. So I did bio. So I have to talk about ligand gates and potassium, and it's intense. Potassium and calcium and squamous cells, and oh my gosh, biology is rough. It's a really, really rough program. But the thing is, if we take the biology textbook and then we take the Quran, the Quran and the biology textbook are not going to fit. It's closer to take Shakespeare and the Quran, and we're going to see more in common, you know? But if you take the biology textbook and say, here, let's bring it to the Quran, where it talks about, you know, stratified columnar cells, cuboidal cells, and you see these pictures of skeletal muscle, and you say, is this the Quran? We show the picture of the skeletal muscle. This is the Quran. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it's going to look really bad. So that's what I would do with Nadir Ahmed. I would just be like, I would just be very performative and just be like, here's let's look at a biology textbook. Now let's look at the Quran. Are they the same? Is the biology textbook and the Quran the same?
Yeah. It'll be a little bit like you're lying on you're about to go in for surgery, and your doctor walks in and he goes, "Oh yeah, you know, I skipped my last class at medical school and I just read the Bible instead." I read praying for you.
I read the Quran and now I'm ready to do surgery. I read the Quran and I'm going to use the Quran as my surgical manual.
Let me read a couple of messages before I let you. I let you continue, John. Basil Problem says, ask Big League Drew if he felt a tingle after I prayed for him. No, he felt a tingle when he got humiliated in public. They seem to have this humiliation fetish. And I honestly think that just Drew is extremely dumb. He didn't understand a single one of my arguments because he's just dumb and he doesn't read the Bible. And he can't contend with a fucking atheist knowing the Bible more than him. He's just that dumb. Basil says, Isa, how was lunch? Did you get to sit next to FTFE?
I spent FTFE is Craig, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so him and I are real good buddies. I gave a hug to him for you. Yeah, he and I, we really get along very well. He said I can't sit in the room with Daniel. I mean, I kind of feel I understand that, like, child marriage, to me it's very disturbing. Like, I was a special ed teacher before, and I'm like, I can't imagine ever thinking, like, even that a thought crossing my mind of, hey, let me take advantage of, you know, one of my students, you know, and them being, you know, and saying, oh, I'm going to marry them. Like, that's just creepy. It's very, very creepy. And using marriage as this kind of escape mechanism to be with young, I don't know. I kind of like adults. I'm sorry. I'm more attracted to folks who are cognitively developed. I think Daniel probably agrees. I think we like, you know, having a partner who's cognitively developed.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Pablo for 750 Uruguayan pesos says this guy is almost as funny as a flat earther, aren't they? Like these baby Christians that think that they can, because they watch Andrew Wilson a couple of times, they think that they can just do the same lame ass strategies. And then like they get even basic fallacy definitions wrong, and then they cry like, you ad-hoc me. No, I was just calling you a moron. I wasn't saying that your argument is wrong because you're a moron. Get the difference. But he tried to tell me, I told him like, dude, in general, a lot of my views on the stuff that I talk about are backed by people with degrees in theology. So it's not that I'm just speaking out of my ass. And he's like, you're appealing to authority. He's like, motherfucker. And I copy pasted him directly from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, the definition of the appeal to authority fallacy. And he's so dumb that he doesn't understand. He just doesn't understand. Then says, praying for you, brother. There is hope. Motherfucker, keep me out of your sick homoerotic fantasies. Just, I don't roll that way. I'm all about the ladies. And then Basil, please comment on the young earth creationist Will Duffy asking a question to Richard Carrier about the proof of God. Well, but he didn't get to ask the question. He was like, Will Duffy is on DebateCon and tried to ask Richard Carrier about, he was going to ask something, but the preamble was so long that James just cut it off. And then we didn't even get to hear Isa. What were you going to ask Isa on that question?
I was going to ask him, like, what do you think the probability of God existing? Like, what percentage? I was going to be very quick. Who was that person in front of me? They seemed to be a little bit unwell.
Will Duffy, the guy from TFE.
Oh, that was Will Duffy?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. He seemed he seemed a little bit, really kind of upset. I was a bit worried. I was like, oh, I hope he's okay.
Yeah. Oh my, this sick, like this
what
guy
was
is
your-
still like, stop fantasizing about me. I don't roll that way. Thank you, I'm flattered, but keep me out of your fantasies, please. John, sorry, go. Did you watch DebateCon?
So I've been dipping in and out. As you can imagine,
Okay.
it's sort of the wrong time for me.
Yeah, you're in the wrong time zone. I get that.
Well, we're in the right time zone because we're in the first time zone. It's GMT. It starts at 0.
Damn you! I just got owned. Just got owned.
Yeah, I mean, we fucking discovered you, so let's not start throwing stones. Just, like this whole breakfast question. Obviously, it's a hypothetical, and obviously you can engage with it. But what people don't seem to like is when somebody throws a hypothetical at you and you add caveats to it.
This dumbass doesn't understand that I just the baked assumption into a question just doesn't apply to me.
Well, but this is the problem. Like, it depends. Like, it kind of does, because even if you I hardly ever eat breakfast. Sometimes I do,
neither.
But I almost never eat breakfast. Like, this is usually my breakfast, a coffee.
Right.
So,
mate.
But I can engage with the hypothetical in the same way as, like, before I was married. I could, even though if somebody said, "Oh, how would you feel if, somebody hit on your wife?" If I wasn't married yet, I could still engage with the hypothetical. So yeah, it seems like everybody got bent out of shape about not a fat lot. I started listening when Issa was talking about the Israel-Palestine debate, which obviously is it affects the UK probably far more than it does the US, just because of the huge number of people who are, how can I put this, aggressively sympathetic with Palestine, like, as in Palestinians, those people in the West Bank or Gaza can do nothing wrong. And obviously we have people in the UK who think that Israel can do nothing wrong as well. The problem I have is that after October the 7th, literally it was the day later, Israel hadn't even responded yet. And we had people marching through the streets celebrating in London wearing T-shirts with paragliders on it.
Thank you for saying that, John. I'm going to say something too.
Yeah.
It's very traumatic because I am a Jewish person too. So it really hurts me when I keep hearing about how evil Jews are. And like Daniel just kept saying how evil Jews were. And I heard that also with Junior. And I'm trying to listen, but it's very hard to hear that. You know what I mean? Because I'm stuck between this rock and a hard place because half of my family is Muslim, half of them are Jewish. And I do identify and am connected to Judaism and Jewish people. And I know the Jewish people aren't perfect. There's no group is. I'm sure you would say British people aren't perfect. And, Max would say Uruguayan people are not perfect. But it's just, there's this thing where we keep saying Jewish people are evil. And it bothers me to a very deep level. Can't you just say Jewish people are people and just leave it at that and stop attacking Jewish people? And just every minute they could, they were just so happy to attack Jewish people. And it, I was disturbed. I was disturbed.
The other thing as well is, I have a fundamental problem with, the problem that Israel as a mechanized army, the IDF is facing is unprecedented in terms of the military tactics that are required to achieve their objective. Hamas has been digging in for 20 years. They've put tens of billions of dollars into an infrastructure project that is commensurate with that of the London Underground, which is 120 years in the making. They've done in 20 years in supposedly one of the most impoverished and poor nations or poor patches of land on earth, what took the United Kingdom a century to achieve with the London Underground. And this is at the time when they're supposed to have had like aid cut off by Israel and roadblocks put in their way, and like you can't build a London underground in 20 years expressly designed to shield your military, and then also claim poverty at the same time. You know, and the argument is, oh well, you know, they're starving or they've not got clean water. I mean, Jesus, if they'd have directed that at like desalination plants and solar panels and power generation, they could have been independent in terms of water power if they wanted to, but they chose not to. So that's the Palestinian side of my issue with Hamas. There's also the fact that, you know, Hamas, dependent on whether you think the election was gerrymandered or not, but Hamas were elected. And as far as we can tell, they do seem to have a high degree of support from the Palestinian population as it is right now. And again, immediately after October the 7th, they were dragging bodies through the street, and like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of Palestinians were celebrating in the street. And then Hamas are using their own population as human shields. Israel, on the other hand, I think Netanyahu has a lot to answer for in terms of how he has directed funding towards Hamas. And I do think it is probably the case that he has propped Hamas up as a political tool, as an enemy to fight against to keep him in power. That does seem to have been the case. I think it's getting harder and harder for people to deny that. But the thing that worries me more than anything is we have a very, very small Jewish population in the UK, and we have a huge Muslim population in the UK now. And the Muslim population in the UK seems to be pretending that this ass kicking just dropped out of the fucking sky and we didn't do nothing wrong, bruv. Like, and I'm sorry, that's not the case. Like, you've been firing rockets into Israel proper for the last 20 years. And they finally lost their patience with it. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. But, you know, Hamas have played the PR war to perfection. Unfortunately, they're not using props. They're using actual babies. And Israel have so collectively lost their patience that they're sort of like, right, okay, we're done. If you don't give a shit about your people, we don't either. Have this rocket.
Let me read some more stuff that I have here. Big League Drew is still crashing. Guys, be gentle. He's having a hard time. He just got destroyed, and he's now licking his wounds. I read this one. We read that one. We read that one. Drew for $5. I mean, thank you for the money. Crazy, you guys are pathetic. I do understand what you're saying. You don't get the question, dude. That's the point. No, oh my fucking. This message shows that you don't understand my objection, you fucking moron. You don't understand it. I gave you a practical example, a very egregious example of the exact thing that you're doing, and you're just not smart enough to understand the point. Like, dude, you're getting railroaded by someone whose native language is not English. That's how dumb you are. The only person crying is you. Go back and watch. I have disposable income. I can do this all day, brother. Dummy. I mean, continue spurging out by throwing money at me. I have no problem. No problem with that. And Basil, I'm praying for you. Let me know if your elbow is cured. Oh yeah, that motion, that repetitive stress injury will fucking get you every time. Isa, as a scholar of religion, did Jesus keep the law?
It's debatable. If we see him as a mystic, he, in a sense, could do that, because he spiritually knows it better than his colleagues. It's debatable on who is actually, this is the problem with religion in general, who is actually correct in their understanding of the religion. Are metaphysicians, spiritualists who see the kind of wisdom behind this. Are they the correct ones? I would probably take that position. I like the mystics and the metaphysicians. Right. I don't like literalists very much, but that's my bias. I'll be honest. That's a bias that I have. Jesus is more appealing to me than, let's say, like you're like, I don't know, like some warrior.
From a practical point of view. Sorry, sir.
When
Max,
Jesus says, for example, that the Sabbath was created for men, not men for the Sabbath, he's just arguing against the hyper-literalistic interpretation of some sects of Judaism in which you can't do anything that is work. Like even picking up a piece of paper from the floor would be considered work, right?
That's correct. You're correct.
That is what he's arguing against. The problem is that this dumbass is trying to argue a book that he doesn't know against me. And I'm sorry, Drew. I know it hurts, but I do know the Bible more than you. And I consult with my friend who is actually a scholar, and I have another friend who's also part of this channel who is also a scholar. So I've talked at length with both of them. And not only that, I also, I watch other scholars like Bart Ehrman and Justin from the Construction Zone. You're just a baby debater. You just watch a couple of Andrew Wilson debates and you think those strategies are good, but they are not.
And you're right, though, because that's the thing, is that there was duels going on in first century Judea and Samaria, because that's what they would have been called at that time, at least. They would have been called at least the province of Judea.
He's so dumb. Like, he agreed with me, you moron, fucking liar. We just talked about it. I gave the example. There were sects of Judaism that would believe that even if you picked a piece of paper from the ground, that was work, and you're not supposed to even do that. Hasidic Jews in my country, and I've seen this, they have servants which are non-Jewish that they turn on the light in the room because turning on a light switch is considered work. Yes.
They call it Shabbos goy. That's the term. They're called the Shabbos goy.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. Turning a light switch is considered work, and they have servants, non-Jewish servants, to do that for them in the Sabbath. You have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Ben Shapiro was talking about it. He was saying that so that he can read on the Sabbath in the evening when it gets dark, he makes sure that he turns like the reading lamp on in his office like the day before, and it stays on the whole time, so he doesn't have to touch it on the Sabbath, and he can just sit and read a book or whatever. Yeah.
I wanted to engage this point that Big League Drew said. The Jews think that they can trick God. If you're going to say that position, then you would have to say that Jesus was trying to trick God, because Jesus is a Jew. Paul is a Jew. Peter is a Jew. These are all Jews. So this is the problem. If you want to say some Jews, but the problem is when you use the term Jews, you are then saying you're generalizing an entire group, and that's a problem. It doesn't work. And I think it's very hard, because I'm not going to try to be racist here. I'm going to say try to be kind. I'm guessing this person is a person of European ancestry. They're not Jewish, and they want to talk about a community that they're not a part of. Like, if people start talking about European communities and start saying, well, white people sexually assault black women, and say, well, yeah, because you're a white person, you would sexually assault black women. That's problematic. That's an extremely problematic statement to make, right? So this statement that you're saying that Jews are trying to trick God, this generalized statement, is extremely problematic. And to say, well, Jews are trying to trick God, then you'll say Jesus is trying to trick God, because Jesus, if we take the philosophical beats, right? The first argument is, Jews are trying to trick God. That's postulate A. Postulate B, Jesus is a Jew. Then thus that would be Jesus is trying to trick God. You get what I mean? That's the syllogism, right? So
you're putting together a syllogistic argument
That's it.
Yeah.
So that would be the point, that Jesus would be trying to trick God because Jesus is a Jew, if that's the argument, And
but also the argument is the argument is circular because the conclusion is Jews are trying to trick God, or Jesus is trying to trick God. But one of the premises is Jews are trying to trick.
The premises, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. These are the premises that are going on. Premise 1, Jews try to trick God. Premise 2,
Jesus is a Jew.
Thus,
conclusion, Jesus is trying to trick Jews. Yeah, it's. Oh, sorry, I got a fucking wasp in. Off.
No, you're good.
A wasp? Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I've got So my office is it's one of the I build home timber frame garden buildings, and my office is basically it's a cabin at the bottom of the garden, but it's a 2-floor one because I'm a fucking beast. And I have a wasp's nest that's parked up in the eaves, and it's going into the winter, so they're starting to lie dormant. So I'm just waiting until they go dormant, and then I can get rid of the nest. I didn't really plan on attacking it.
Right about now is where I would just grab my fucking flamethrower and just spout fury.
Yeah, this is why you're an intellectual and I build shit, Max, because it's fucking wood, you genius.
I mean, if we have to take down the whole cabin to get rid of the wasps, I am down for that.
That's right. I'm not allergic.
Big League Drew says, "Wow, this guy is a tart too." Yes, the guy with the master's degree in theology is wrong about this, and you fucking derpling that can't even read the Bible, you're correct. Got it. Tell me how that
tell us
makes
that
sense.
He's not a Christian. Why is he so invested in this?
Because he's an orthomoron. He's part of the Andrew Wilson.
But he said he's not a Christian, though. He said he's not a Christian.
He doesn't even he's a flip-flopper. He will change his position, and of course we realize that he's also a liar. So he's trying, he's very desperate and butthurt. He's very desperate and butthurt that his whole worldview is literally crashing before his eyes.
I'm still not sure I get what the argument.
Nah, I think he's just an argumentative douchebag. Got schooled on the fallacies twice. Got schooled on the appeal to authority fallacy and the appeal and the ad hominem fallacy. Got schooled on the breakfast question, and then got schooled in the Bible. That's 4 times in one night, and I've been dunking him all day. He's super butthurt.
I'm sorry, can I just get a bit of clarification on the? So, the position is that Jews are trying to trick God. And I assume do you know when somebody says the Jews?
Yes.
Dependent on, I don't necessarily read into it in text, but when I hear people say it in real life, there's sometimes there's an inflection in the way they say it, in the same way as sort of somebody from the really religious right would go the gays.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It sounds a little bit like that sometimes. And I'm not accusing this person of that because I don't know that's how they mean it. But so Jews are trying to trick God, but isn't God
that is just a common dog whistle, just to be perfectly honest with that.
Shouldn't he be in principle untrickable? Yes. If he did exist? This seems like it, as the most as the community with the most Nobel laureates, you would think that they would know when they're onto a fucking hiding to nothing.
Look at this dumb shit he's saying. I literally explained to you how, because their interpretation of the law is so harsh that they need other people who are not Jewish so that they can turn the lights on for them, or some will just leave them on throughout. They will turn them on Friday before dawn and before sunset, and then they will leave them on until the Sabbath is over.
Right. So okay, this makes a bit more sense now. Actually, I get it. So it's sort of a little bit like when I'll say to my daughter, right, okay, it's bedtime at 7:30. Turn your tablet off at 7:30 and go to sleep. So she'll turn her tablet off at 7:30, but then she'll pick the tablet up, go into her brother's room and get her brother to turn it back on.
Right.
So then she's followed the rules, but she's not followed the spirit of the rules.
I mean,
that's fair.
When as a parent, when a kid, aren't you just Like, oh yeah, you got me on that one.
Well, it's like when I tell my daughter or my son off, and because like they've attempted to manipulate us, and they were going, oh, they don't really know what they're doing. I'm like, no,
They know what they're
you can't
doing.
accidentally manipulate a person. If they've come to you and if they've come to me and asked me to do something and I've said no, and then they come to you and ask you for the same thing even though I've said no, that's an attempt at manipulation. They know what they're doing. They can't do it by accident. And yeah, I'm sort of like they're testing the boundaries of the world around them. And every now and again, as a parent, you just when they say they want ice cream and ketchup for tea, every now and again you just kind of have to let them do it. Because they need to know what ice cream ketchup vomit looks like, so they need to learn that lesson. So,
well, I think this is interesting because I'm still a little confused because the person told us in the conversation that they were not a Christian. This is what they told us right now. And maybe they said it before that they were. I'm like, why are you invested about Jewish people? Like, it doesn't make sense. And you're saying that they're trying to trick, they're trying to trick God, that they're not consistent. So what? Why does that matter to you? If that were the case, why does that matter to you? That's their culture. You're not a Christian, so shouldn't matter, right? According to what you stated to us. You know what I mean? So it's I don't understand.
Why am I so invested if I'm an atheist? It's because I like dunking on dumb people like you. That's it's fun. It's fun watching you like literally spiral and not be able to comprehend a very simple argument like, yeah, your hypothetical has a baked-in assumption that assumes that everyone has breakfast. And it doesn't, when you ask that question to someone who regularly doesn't have breakfast, it is a perfect answer. How would you feel if you didn't have breakfast today? I feel okay because I don't have breakfast regularly. That is a perfectly valid answer, which breaks your silly tactic. That question only catches up people who are not able to entertain hypotheticals, and that also are part of the people that do have breakfast regularly. If you are either able to entertain the hypothetical or you don't have breakfast regularly, each answer is acceptable either way. And the problem is that you're so dumb that you don't get it, which is hilarious. And you can come on if you want. We'll keep on dunking you more. Basil problem for $2. Isa, be more nimble and get in line earlier to borrow.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. So when you're asking sort of like what's the probability of sort of God's existence, were you asking sort of like in the Bayesian sense and in like how in yeah? I assume you weren't pointing at like an objective data point, like some ontological fact.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah. So what happened is I was in the back. It's not that I couldn't.
Yeah, no, but you gotta push and elbow some fools tomorrow, so we get.
Well, I'm not gonna be there tomorrow. Remember, because
yes, you're going back home. Fuck me, I'm so.
Yeah,
at least I got the screenshot of you.
You did, and it looks great.
It's sick.
It looks great.
Actually sick. Did you see it, John?
No, I didn't. I saw a few bits of.
Hold on. I won't make Isa get up. I'll show the picture that I took out of the stream. Where is it? Here. Boom. It has both the American flag, and on the other side it has the Uruguayan flag and the logo, and of course the sky blue of the Uruguayan flag. All right, Big League Drew is here for round 2. Yeah, just so you know, if I tell you to shut up, I mean, the best thing would be for you to shut up. All right.
Just don't tell people to shut up, dude. I dismissed the message, that's why I couldn't see it. But what I'm saying, one, calling them Jews, I mean, if they are practicing Jews as in they practice Judaism, that is correct. That's not disparaging at all, right? That's like calling Christians Christians. It doesn't mean that it's disparaging.
It's like calling you dumb.
But what I'm saying though is like if you follow the strict laws of the Old Testament, they're like if they're coming up with ways to try and get around those laws, they are trying to violate the spirit of the law, which is trying to trick God. So if God says you can't light a fire, and they consider turning on a light switch, lighting a fire or something like that, so then they keep shades over a light to then try, and then they have to remove the shade or have a Shabbos goy remove the shade for them. They're trying to get around the law through other means. And I didn't say that they tricked God. I'm saying that they're trying to trick God, or they're trying to be deceitful, or it's like saying that like they put a string around
like
New York City and call it an extension of their house. Clearly the city is not an extension of their house. And I'm not going to, and I know they have people that interpret the laws, but I think in the spirit of the law, you could see how that's trying to be disingenuous and get around the commandments, because the commandments are meant to be hard, and they're hard for a purpose. And I think we could all agree on that.
Nope.
What did I lie about? What did I lie about?
Again. The commandments are not hard. The commandments are easy according to God himself. You don't know the Bible. Why are you here when you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about?
Dude, okay, hold on. But if everyone has sinned and the commandments are easy to keep, then why has everyone sinned except for Jesus?
What does that question have to
do with
anything?
If the laws are easy to keep, then why has no one ever been able to keep them strictly? If everyone has committed sin,
you are able to keep the law. Sin has
only Jesus was able to keep all of the laws, right?
Hold on.
No,
because you can break the law and you can atone for the law.
Jesus never broke the law. Jesus never broke the law and atoned.
Why do you care about this? I don't. This is what I'm not understanding. You're not Christian, so this shouldn't matter to you.
Well,
why are you concerned about these things?
I don't follow organized religion. I would say I'm spiritual, but I care because Max invited me to have a conversation earlier in the live chat on Modern Day Debates stream. But I also wanted to respond to what you said earlier, is that when I said that Jesus criticized the Pharisees and didn't keep the law, you said that there's a mystical interpretation of the Bible, which I would agree with, and that you said that because he is God or is this mystical being, that he knows the laws better than the Pharisees, so that if he did something that they considered to be breaking the law, that maybe he actually is keeping the law better than they could. But if he broke the laws that are written, then those laws are not to be followed if we're to follow Jesus's example, right?
But would he actually be breaking them? Because if he is God, then he understands what.
So Jesus. My understanding is that Jesus's criticism of the Pharisees is that they were strict adherents to the written law rather than trying to find inner spirit or inner righteousness, right? And that in Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9, it says that you're not saved through works, but through faith, right? And it's a gift of God.
No, for fuck's sake, we don't care about what fucking Paul says.
Well,
if you want to
the law is outward works, and that's the point. That's the point of that.
I don't care what Paul says. God takes precedent over what Paul says. I think Paul was riding a horse, hit his fucking head, and then became crazy. Okay. I don't care. I asked you many times. I asked you many fucking times. Why? What is your justification for believing Paul over the actual word of fucking Yahweh? And you do not have an answer for that.
I do. You want? Can I respond? Can I respond or no? See,
yes,
you won't let me respond.
You will respond. Okay. Let me just point out that I told you that you don't know the Bible. Obeying these commands is not something beyond your strength and reach. So they're not hard to keep. This is God speaking again. You are so damn bit fucking hilarious.
Well,
are you under the impression that Jesus is God, or that there's somehow one?
That's what the Bible says in the Gospel of John.
And if that's the case, then and Jesus criticized the Pharisees that didn't keep the law that they wrote himself, then that is God saying that you don't have to follow the law. But what did I lie about?
You're lying again. The criticism of Jesus of the Pharisees is not that they didn't keep the law. Their criticism is that they weren't righteous. You're why are you arguing a book you haven't read?
I don't know if I misspoke. The Pharisees.
Yes,
I'm not saying the Pharisees.
You don't know the Bible.
No.
Admit that.
Jesus criticized the Pharisees for being strict adherents to the law, and I've said that multiple times in the chat and now.
That is the actual
criticism because being strict adherence to the law is not a path to righteousness.
That's what Paul says.
Max,
that's what Jesus said.
The verse.
That's Jesus' teaching.
the verse you put up, Max. You said that it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that the laws should be easy to keep.
Yeah, that's
Can
what
you put the
God
verse?
says in
It doesn't say
Deuteronomy.
it should be easy to
actually,
keep.
well, this is what I want to.
Oh, for
cover.
fuck's sake! I showed it to you. I shared
It-
my screen. You
No,
fucking
no, no.
filthy,
It didn't
just
use
wanna-
the word
filthy
easy to keep.
liar.
Yeah,
You
so
are
I just
a
want to make it.
fucking liar, Drew.
It's no.
Put it
it's a
back up.
point
We
of
can
co-
talk about
You
it.
are going
Max.
to the lake of fire with all of the other
Yeah.
liars.
Fine, I take hot showers. I'm practicing.
Obeying these commandments is not something beyond your strength and reach. That implies that there's a degree of fortitude and strength required to achieve them, which means I would state that they're not easy.
Yeah, and even Jesus was tempted in the desert by the devil, right? And the whole thing is that
What
it's
does
not
that have? What a lame
keep,
deflection.
no, hold on, but keeping the law is not beyond your reach, right? You can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? That's what the Bible says. So it's not that you can't do it, but it's not that it's easy either. And we're all going to be tempted. We're all going to fall short. We're all going to fall short of being perfect holiness. Only Jesus was the only perfect sacrifice. That's why he fulfilled the law. So I was trying to tell you, see, because when you actually let me speak, some of your points actually don't hold as much water as you think they do. And it's not fair if you just yell and call people names and mute me.
Yeah, you're in my house, bitch.
Okay, well, that's fine, but that doesn't mean that you won the conversation because you yelled the loudest.
Yeah, I did, because I literally
No,
schooled you
only
on all
idiots
points
think yelling the
today.
loudest means that they won a conversation.
Yeah, you can cope as much as you want. I've been
That's not
schooling
cope.
you on
That's not
the
cope.
Bible
And
all
even
day
John
long.
just agreed with me. I think Issa agreed with me on some of the things I was saying.
No, you lied about that too.
Did Jesus honor the Sabbath? Did Jesus honor the Sabbath? Did he touch lepers? Did he violate the law? And was he a perfect sacrifice, meaning without sin?
What Jesus said was that you don't need to consider like everything work. You're just meant to rest. But if you drop a piece of paper, you can just pick it up.
Yeah, it's because the old law that they were following was not the law of God.
Again.
I'm not lying. And
you're lying again.
I'm not lying, and I'll tell you that you can believe
Chapter and verse, motherfucker.
Can I ask what is the function of does everybody agree on what the function of the Sabbath is? Like, I mean, my understanding is that the Sabbath is supposed to be God's day, and that you're supposed to essentially spend the day thinking and contemplating. It's a day of worship. Yeah, a day of worship.
Day of rest,
And if you go back to the era where where these texts were essentially conceived, or dependent on what you believe, revealed to the masses, work was fucking backbreaking work.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going to take a practical point of view, like, let's say for argument's sake that you turn on a light on the Sabbath in order to allow you to read the Bible.
Well, they didn't have electricity. They couldn't turn on a light.
They just start a fire.
They did have candles.
They did
start a fire. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but I guess my point is, like, if the function of the day is to worship, then like work that allows you to worship or understand God better, surely that is. So, for example, like it seems a bit mad to me that, like, going back to Ben Shapiro, I've heard him talk about this a few times, where he says, "Oh, I leave a lamp on so that I can sit and read."
Mm.
Now, if he was to leave a lamp on the Sabbath so that he can sit down and start writing a new book about, like, American foreign policy and economics, I would consider that to be more of an abandonment of the Sabbath than turning a light on and off in order to allow him to read his copy of the Torah. So the issue here is, like, from a practical point of view, like, turning the light on and off in the modern world just seems like and them to try and get around that by having somebody else turn it on and off or leaving it on the day before. We seem to be abandoning the principle of what the day is about, as opposed and focusing on, like, something that's insignificant, as opposed to actually.
Well, I guess, like, I kind of agree
on.
with you, but like I said, I'm not an adherent of those laws, and I think that was the teaching of Jesus.
Because you don't follow the Bible.
Well, no, I follow the teaching of Jesus, and that's why the Jews didn't like him, right? The Pharisees did not like him, and ultimately they had him they conspired to have him put to death.
No, you're lying again. They didn't like him because he went around claiming to be God.
Okay, well, do you think he was the Messiah?
No,
you don't believe in the Bible at all. So
I don't believe the Bible at all, you dumbass. It's called an internal critique. I don't have to believe the Bible to criticize your point of view. And again, I would like
I think my point of view is correct.
I would like the answer to the question.
What's the question?
Why does Paul why do you worship Paul rather than God? God tells you over and over that you're meant to keep the law for fucking ever.
No, okay, I don't worship Paul, and I think you're fixated on one specific text. And
answer the question.
I am. You keep interrupting me.
Answer the
question. Are you gonna let me answer?
Answer the
question. Are you gonna let me answer?
Answer the question. Stop asking me if
you just muted me. How am I supposed to answer?
You to
Look, I think that if you
I don't want these deflections. I want to
I think if you follow
I want you to tell me why Paul, like some shit that Paul said, takes precedent over the no less than 10. Oh, he fucking ran away. I moved you so you can't unmute you. Like, come back. Dumb. Like, you should be big league dumb. You're dodging, dumbass. Dodging the question. You're deflecting. There's a question here. Why do you take the words of Paul over the words of God? And I don't need the preamble. I want the answer. Robin, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Max?
I'm fun freaking tastic. It's a Beta Christian day.
I can tell you're on fire.
I am ecstatic.
You're on fire with the Lord there. Yes. I love it.
Yeah, these people are so funny.
Is Issa here?
Yeah, right there.
Working. He's probably working. I didn't come in say much. I didn't watch the DebateCon, I don't guess so. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and say hi. I'll hang out though. So what was it you were talking about anyway? Like obviously Paul and Jesus, words of Jesus and Paul.
I mean, I asked a very simple question and the dumbest can't really answer.
I think it makes sense though, because I think Christianity seems to be more a creation of Paul than of Jesus.
Yeah, they're Paul worshippers.
Yeah.
And they don't realize it because I keep telling him over and over, everywhere you look, God says over, and there's like 10 verses in which God directly says. And then I showed him Jesus because he seems to be like a fan of Jesus. Like he's perfect, sinless, and yada yada. But then also claims that Jesus is not God, which the Gospel of John actually says that Jesus was God. But when I ask him the question, he can't fucking answer. Like this is just insane. The John in the Gospel of John, the other Gospels. Yeah, your Gospel, I know.
Your Gospel.
No, he wasn't trying to answer. He was giving me a preamble and not answering the question. That doesn't fly here. If I ask you a question, if I ask you a yes or no question, I expect a yes or no. If I ask you, why do you take the words of Paul over the words of God when God says over and over and over and over and over and over again that the law is meant to be kept forever? And I gave him the verse where Jesus himself says that the law is meant to be kept forever. And even when fulfilling the law, let me give you a practical example. When you fulfill the law, when you get in your car and you fulfill the law of wearing your seatbelt, does that mean that because you fulfill the law of putting your seatbelt on, now you can take it off? No, it means that you have to continue with the seatbelt on. That is fulfilling the law. Keeping the law is to fulfill it. So he's even wrong about that. Fulfilling the law doesn't mean that you do away with the law, especially when Jesus himself says that no letter will be struck from the law. And he can't contend. He can't contend with the Bible. He just accuses me of cherry picking, wild cherry picking, because he did say that Jesus is not God. That make sense somehow.
Not a jot or tittle. Isn't that what it says?
Yeah. All right. Where were we? Jake versus Planet Peters.
Oh, good. I'm just in
Yes.
time. I'm just in time.
That debate, I didn't catch the openings, but the stream started in the middle of the open discussion, and
I had planned to go to that too.
right.
I was going to go to Nashville because I'm only an hour away.
Oh,
but I still can't. I can't. I'm not mobile enough to go to that something like that.
oh. I hope you get better, so you get well soon. There were a few points in which, Planet Peterson. The same thing happened with Drew the Dummy. The same thing happens with Jake. Like Planet Peterson would ask him direct questions, and they flounder and they preamble so that they can try for getting away from answering the question. The thing is that here that doesn't fly.
What was their debate topic? Was it about Christianity or?
Yeah. The debate topic was.
I know once he's doing Christianity and government, like one time in this debate.
Yeah, Christianity or secular humanism, which is best for society. But when I got in, I didn't hear the opening, but Jake basically ran the Andrew Wilson strategy of not advocating for his position. As far as I understood it from the exchange, Jake was arguing, and I quote, for Christian authoritarian Christian humanism. And I don't know how you can fucking parse authoritarianism with humanism, because those are incompatible. And that's what these scumbags do.
It sounds like a place where women would have no bodily autonomy whatsoever.
No bodily autonomy, no.
With a Christian authoritarian and what else do you say?
Christian authoritarian humanism. Yes. Yeah, no freaking way.
The fetus would be like the most important thing in the world, like till it was born,
and then
till the minute it's born.
And I think what lost the debate for Jake the Dummy is that Jake literally said that democracy is authoritarianism.
Really?
Yeah.
So what is he like? One of those
dumbass
dog citizens, maybe sovereign citizens, or
I guess.
Well, they think taxation is slavery too.
Yeah.
Did that come out?
Yeah, but for example, when you have someone literally arguing that choosing your rulers and having your rulers have term limits and be limited in the capacity of what they do, arguing that is authoritarianism, this is why I call these people dumbasses.
Yeah.
You do the same thing when people ask you a yes or no question. No fucking way. No.
Tis show.
I'm not. I'm not that dishonest, liar. If you ask me a yes or no question, I will say yes or no, unless you ask me a question that is not a yes or no. If it's a false dichotomy, I will point out that it's a false dichotomy. But no. I mean, do you want to come on and ask me a yes or no question? Like, you asked me about my morality, and I've told you, I know how to make arguments in a very succinct and direct way. So I tend not to go on and on and on. I can explain my positions. I don't have to speak for 3 hours to make a point, mostly because, I have some minimal communication skilks. Dude, it's like, why do I always need to lie? I have no idea. I mean, I guess they really want a direct ticket to the lake of fire. That's where all of these motherfuckers are going.
I love you, Max.
I love you
I really do. So
that was kind of the summary of the Peterson and Jake debate.
So
Jake said dumb stuff.
Okay, how did Peterson do though? See, because Peterson has not been arguing politics for a really long time, and so he's been trying to hone in on that. I know.
No, he did very well. He did very well.
Yes, I love it. I love PP.
The problem is that I like him too.
Yeah.
The problem is that, for example, Planet Peterson asked a very simple question, and then Jake like literally refused to answer. And then they got stuck there for a moment where Planet Peterson kept asking the question. Fortunately, the moderator did intervene and made Jake answer, but just like Drew now, he deflected.
Who was the moderator?
It wasn't James. There was another moderator. I don't know who he is.
Does Ryan still moderate for him?
No, I have no idea who the moderator was.
Oh.
Yeah. And well, yeah, that one I can't say much because it got cut and it's only 1 hour. Like if you look at, for example, the debate with Richard Carrier and Inspiring Philosophy, that one was 4 hours.
Oh my God.
Oh no, sorry, no. They left my bad. They left the stream running. And it's just ads. So no, it was like 2 hours and something. Based on problems for $5, there is no doubt MDD is a Christian nationalist platform, considering the main first project sponsorship. Oh, that is rough. That is rough. I don't know. At least the other sponsor they have, Uncensored America, is at least a bit more covert in the fact. But yeah, promoting like conservatism is it's just wild.
That's not even conservatism. But like Andrew Wilson is not a conservative by any means of the word. He's
weird to put into a box. I think the best description of his position is just derp.
Yeah. I mean, like he has like nothing but fallacies and like insults and shit like that, and like and misogyny, a little misogyny, like
little misogyny, yeah.
Then maybe a little racism every now and then. I mean, like he's got all that good stuff going for him, and the cigarettes. And,
a perfect example of. And the other day I heard him. I don't know what I came up across a clip, and he was like, "Yeah, look at me. I'm living in a $1.2 million. I'm moving to a $1.2 million home." And he's like, "Oh yeah, exactly what Jesus preached. Exactly what Jesus preached."
Yeah,
to hoard wealth and then to also flaunt the fact that you're hoarding, like you're hoarding wealth, like very Jesus-y of you, Andrew. Bezo, I don't know if you're petty enough to do this, but James said that if you email him, he will refund back 1/7 of the $15 membership for the mishap on that first debate.
1/7.
Yeah, because the first debate didn't get broadcast in its entirety.
So you get like $2 back?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, $2.14. I mean, people, because people were like freaking out. They were like, "I paid $15 for this," and it's like, dude, chill. It's technical problems happen. Like, what the hell? Tomorrow we have can naturalism explain reality better than theism? Planet Peterson versus Rim Job.
Oh God!
That's at 10 a.m.
That's gonna be like awesome. See, that's one of the ones I wanted to go see too. I wanted to go see Planet Peterson.
At 12 p.m. we have, is feminism more good or bad for society? Rachel Wilson versus Craig. And let me remind you that Rachel Wilson thinks that feminism is an occult witch conspiracy to bring about like paganism or some shit like that. It's very derpy. It's a very derpy view. And the funniest thing of all of that, which it would be I would actually go down the Wilson strategy on that, and I would be like, Rachel, if your worldview came to fruition, you would not be allowed to be derping in public like this. You would be chained to your kitchen, and you would not have been allowed to write a book or to even be derping in public here. So contend with that. You are here being able to spout your nonsense in public across the internet because of the conquests that feminists have done over the years. Then we have, sorry.
Yes, women like that are like, yeah. I'll disown them. Like,
oh,
you know
boy,
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Then we have at 4 p.m., which is more violent, Islam or Christianity? Apostate prophet versus, this is not Junior. This is Javad Hashmi.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
Javad Hashmi is a very progressive Muslim.
Nice.
God finally speaks.
And then we have Richard
there's
Carrier.
my friend. There's my friend right there.
And then Richard Carrier versus Andrew Wilson, secular humanism versus Christianity versus humanity. Sorry, speaking with Drew rubbed off some of the dumb in me. I need to take a shower.
Thing about that, Andrew Wilson, whatever people think, he's a master rhetorician. He is very good at what he does. This is why he's a rock star. You go to these debate cons, half of the room have Crucible shirts and Crucible hats. My man is a rock star. Like when he comes in,
cult. It's a cult,
right? But
not a rock band.
But like,
right.
Let's say, we're gonna grant that, Robin. Let's say it's a cult, right? But when you have a cult leader, the cult leader has to be charming, persuasive, and charismatic for people to follow them. Like, look at what's his name, David Koresh and Jim Jones. They did something that other people can't do. You know what I mean? So he brings them in, and I'm sorry, in that debate with Daniel, he slammed Daniel. Like, Daniel had no chance. He's like, I have one argument. Y'all inbreed. And then he's like, well, inbreeding, everybody's inbreeding. Everybody's inbreeding, but we need to be violent, and we have to fight against Jews and atheists, because atheists and Jews are the great evils. They have high IQ, and they must be destroyed. When a Christian gets high IQ, they become atheists. That was his argument. He said, don't become too smart, or you'll become, if the Christian becomes too smart, they become an atheist. That was his position.
Daniel Kikchu was probably referencing something called an inbreeding coefficient. The inbreeding coefficient of the human, so we use it in like dogs. So we've got pedigree beagles, and if the inbreeding coefficient gets too high, then you have to introduce stud dogs from outside of the breeding pool in order to get the inbreeding coefficient low. Otherwise, you end up with so dogs can tolerate it much more than people can, but you end up with birth defects. The inbreeding coefficient in the human population is about is about 0.2%. Now,
wait 1 second, because Rabbit Biker, you got it wrong. You pay $15 and you become a member for the month, and you get access to all of the debates. You don't need to pay $15 per debate. Yeah, I think you didn't understand the whole thing. But I mean, if you want to come say something dumb and go away, then good job. Sorry, John. Continue.
No, it's fine.
Isa, take over for a minute. I need to go to the toilet.
Yeah, sure. Of course. Go ahead.
So long story short, we are all genetically cousins. That doesn't mean that it's okay to marry and procreate with your first cousin, which has become a cultural practice in some subsets of Islam. To the degree that my wife is a neonatal nurse, and we're seeing massive signals in the data around midline deformities with some parts of the Pakistani community. And where we live we live just south of Coventry and Birmingham, which has a huge Pakistani Muslim community, especially in Birmingham. And the hospital where my wife works in Coventry is a Band 3 neonatal unit. So they deal with all of the fairly severe premature neonatal babies. So it is a big issue within that community, but it doesn't seem like that should have formed the center of the debate. Like that's a small issue as in some small subset of a. Sorry, it's a big issue in a small subset of Islam, which has billions of members to it. So it seemed a bit odd to focus on it.
I'll tell you a little bit about it too. So going to South Asian spaces, because you have a lot of South Asian Muslims there, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, and Indians. Primarily, you're probably dealing with Pakistanis and Bengalis. But what's interesting is, so do you know about the caste system of South Asia? Are you familiar with that? Like there's different like lineages, different kinds of clans that people are part of. Like if you're a Brahmin, Kshatriya, these kind of things, right?
I couldn't name the castes, but I am familiar with the caste system and the cultural to call it a reluctance would be an understatement, but the cultural reluctance to marry it's like cultural hypergamy, but with the caste system. So it's okay to go across. And it's okay to go across and up, but it's not okay to go across and down.
Yes, so that's correct. And the thing is, Muslims have a caste system too.
Yeah.
So in the Muslim caste system, you have Sayyids. Sayyids are like the Brahmins. So the Sayyids are people who are descendants of the Prophet of Islam. So the less South Asian you are, the higher level you are, the more Arab you are. It's so funny. The more Arab you are in the caste, the higher level you are. You're close to the Nabi Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That makes you the greatest, right? Then you have like families like the Qurayshis who are connected to Arabia. You might not be from the Prophet's family, but you're a Qurayshi. You might be a descendant of a Sahaba, a companion of the Prophet of Islam. Then you have like Beygs and Chowdhuries, and you have these other kind of like noble families of South Asia. But the whole idea is you intermarry within these groups, so if you're a Sayyid, you might marry your cousin, because it's sort of like, do you know the Habsburgs and stuff? Like if you're from the noble lineage, so you stay within your lineage. I don't think that's a good idea, though. I think that there's
that old joke that in Europe they banned the Catholic Church banned inbreeding even with the royal family, which is why we started to get our chins back.
You're right. Like that's the big thing. And what was not mentioned by Daniel in that debate is like you get things like hemophilia. You can get like in the Jewish community, there's a thing called Tay-Sachs. It's very deadly. So you can't marry too close to home because you will get diseases that will destroy you. And I forgot what that.
The Tsar family was like heavily inbred, right?
Exactly. You're 100% correct. So I'm like, I think when Andrew debated that argument of saying don't F your own family, I mean, I think it's a valid argument. Like it is true. And he's correct. It's not just marrying a cousin; it's the compounding of marrying cousin after cousin after cousin. Like,
it's funny. There was a report from it was a report from the NHS, but there was another like government quango that was stating that like the multicultural project of large volumes of migration from Pakistan and Bangladesh into the UK, we were seeing evidence that the integration was a success, because acceptance of first cousin and sibling marriage within the Pakistani communities had dropped from 78% to 62%. So yeah, it's obviously gone down. It's obviously gone in the right direction. And what seems to have happened is that there are first generation immigrants that had come into the UK from these communities who have then come to the UK and started having children. And the children have attended westernized Western educational institutions. And then their parents are trying to set them up like to get married with other first cousins, and these children are going, "Are you fucking mad? No, it's not happening." And this is causing sort of like inter-family tensions, because these are sort of like marriages that have been arranged since like birth. And some of these families are still, some of like the cousins might still, for example, still be living in Pakistan. They might not have come to the UK yet. So we've imported this problem, this religious cultural problem, where we've literally got like 15, 16 and 17-year-old sons and daughters that are going on holiday, going back to see family in Pakistan, and they're turning up and it's their own wedding and they didn't know about it.
Huh.
Like I had two girls at university who I knew at university who this happened to.
Oh boy.
And like they had like boyfriends in the UK. Like one of them was seeing like one of my roommates in the halls of residence in my first year of university. And she went on holiday for 2 weeks, back to see family, and then she ended up having to break up with her English boyfriend because she'd come back married. It just absolutely insane.
Basil Problems for $5 said, Isa, how was lunch today? Did you get to the buffet before Wi-Fi Gospel? Yeah, because there was some controversy last year in the fact that the lunch was kind of bad. Was it better this time around, Isa?
It was exponentially better. But the problem is I was looking for vegetarian options. They didn't have much of those, so
that sucks.
That made it difficult. But besides that, I found salad. I found stuff that I can eat, so it was fine. But
yeah, I
guess it was much better, much. And I ate with AP. AP and I we spent a lot of time together. So
Alpha Eagle said, if I came in, like the link is right there. You can come on. I have a very short fuse with liars and people who don't answer my questions. But if you come and you ask a question I don't have a problem with that.
I'm confused about Drew though, because it's like, I'm sorry I'm harping on this, but it's perplexing to me. He said, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. But the way he sounds very religious. He's like, this is like, I don't know, like when I think, because I've been to many New Age places. I don't know if Robin did when she was into Wicca, but I've been to many, I grew up going to New Age, like holistic. You might call it woo-woo, but where they have psychic and all that kind of stuff. And they have, they have like witch stuff too. They've got all that stuff in the New Age places, right? And they're kind of like spiritual, but they're not really dogmatic. So they're like, yeah, we believe in angels and Jesus is cool. Like that's my experience, right? It's not like they really know that they don't really care about Jews or like what moderate Jews do. It's that when I hear that kind of rhetoric, it sounds very religious. Like the way he was talking does not sound like, at least my experience of people who call themselves spiritual. They're very like new agey and they're very accepting and they're not really dogmatic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like, okay, first I wasn't Wiccan. I was like a solitary practitioner, sort of.
You were a solitary practitioner.
I did
go to like conferences.
I did like planetary magic and ceremonial magic. I mean, I looked into Wicca, but it didn't interest me.
I got cursed by a witch once. It didn't take, nothing happened. So I think I'm immune.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to like New Age conferences and stuff, or like they had like the Blessed Be?
No.
Robin, did you go to any of those places or not?
And there are people who call themselves Christian witches. Yeah,
and they probably go to New Age places, like they do incantations and stuff. Yeah, but they're very like New Agey, hippie, New Age, that kind of thing. So it's like Woodstock, you know what I mean? Maybe having some substances. It's usually a kind of a combination of a lot of things, but it's like. It's very interesting to me because when I hear people say I'm spiritual, not religious, that's my image in my head. It's not a person who's like saying very religious things. Like that's what I expect a religious person to say. So maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm off. But when I heard that language, I'm like, oh, this sounds very religious to me. Like, why would you care what a Jew does? Like,
this is what's called build a religion, sort of like build a bear. Like, a lot of people who go that route, they just don't like, like Christianity, Islam. You've got these certain like strict like walls that you have to stay within to kind of be following that religion. So like some people just decide to build their own religion, and that's how they become spiritual.
Right. Yeah, like the New Age places.
They work out. They don't really come up with any theology except for like they take each and do their own theology on it. Like each problem that confronts itself in any religion, any religious belief. Like who is this God, or what, and what does it want from us, and does it punish us or reward us for any of our behavior, or what happens after we die? And so they just kind of go through this and kind of whatever feels good to them. That's what they decide that's the way all that is.
All right. Tay said this: I go to New Age places, though some things are a bit too woo for me, because I guess as a child I was kind of agnostic, pantheistic, but and still sort of am as a pagan. All right. Okay, so welcome. Alpha Eagle has something interesting. A quick discussion on the religion politic parts of the Indiana Jones films. I don't know. I saw them as a kid. I'm intrigued, but go ahead, shoot your question.
Yeah, well, it's not a question. It's kind of my statement. My view on the films is that they are it's a religious franchise, and it's not a political franchise. And I will even argue that the Nazis are not the bad guys, that they're not good, but they sub-villains, I guess you'd say. That the devil himself is the real villain.
Wait, does the devil even appear in the...
He doesn't appear physically, but the devil himself, the evil itself.
Does the devil exist?
In the Indiana Jones films, yes.
Oh, okay.
Now, do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts?
I think it's just a movie.
I can't remember enough of
Well,
I honestly have no clue.
It's kind of like a Pulp Fiction like serial that you would read in the newspaper.
Right.
So it's like, like from the 50s and stuff. I think that's what Spielberg was going for.
Right.
So it really depends on which film we're looking at, because Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade are about Nazis. The second one, Temple of Doom, which I think it's like a prequel, is about it's like Indian fanatics, like these religious Indian fanatics.
I remember that when he the guy is swinging the sword and he shoots him.
That's Raiders of the Lost Ark, and in Temple of Doom, it's like the darkest one. He takes his hand and he's like Kalima, and he hits his hand into the guy's chest and he pulls out his heart, and then he puts his heart on fire. It's actually pretty amazing but insane at the same time.
I don't know. I've seen them. I haven't seen them in over 20 years. They used to play them on open television, on local TV with translation. So I don't. I don't know.
And there are two newer ones. There's the Crystal Skull, which people really don't like, and then I saw a beginning part of the last one. The Golden Compass, I think, or something like that. And those two are kind of derisive, I think, for people. But the Crystal Skull I saw, it's about communists and Russian communists and aliens. Aliens are in that one. So it's interesting. You're saying evil itself.
Right.
It's an interesting thing. So my experience with Indiana Jones is it's kind of like this adventure story. It's not even really about good or evil. It's about the adventure. It takes you as the viewer on this adventure. And there is opposition. There is conflict. Mm-hmm. But the conflict, I think the major star attraction is you traveling around with this swashbuckling hero and experiencing his adventures. I think the last two people don't like it because it doesn't capture that magic. People didn't like Temple of Doom either because it was a lot of mines, really dark, and did not make.
Was Harrison Ford in all of them?
Huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's old Harrison Ford in the last two, though.
like I know that's what I'm saying. That maybe like Harrison Ford, like your superhero guy is supposed to look pretty buff or something. You know what I mean? Sort of. Yeah,
and be kind of cognitively there, and you know what I mean, and like kind of look handsome and attractive. He's a swashbuckling hero, so in the last two, he looks a little bit more.
Yeah, he looks definitely pretty good in the first two. Yeah,
and the third one too. All three in the trilogy, he looks quite handsome and on point. But like in the later ones, he looks he's a grandpa now. He's older. Like I'm like, let my man retire. you give him a rest, or use like that de-aging. Like they do that in the last one. They de-age him, and I'm like, you should just de-age him for the whole movie and just make it like Indiana Jones. But no, they had to go on a different route, and I don't think that was probably the smart
only
thing.
Sean Connery can get away with still being fucking bad,
old and looking good. Yeah, he pulled that off.
Like,
what an actor!
He's impressive.
Like, he can be, like up until he like pretty close to his death, he's still fucking.
Oh, he looked great. I agree with you. He looked
really
really good. He aged well because we know him from Dr. No. We know him from Bond, right? And that's young Sean Connery. But then we see him older. Like I grew up with old Sean Connery. Like all the movies I knew about him,
too.
like the King. He was in a King Arthur movie. He was in.
I watched him in reverse. I watched him as an old man, and then I started watching him.
And he's great as an old man. Like he's a perfect old man actor, and he just does it. Harrison Ford, not so much.
Well,
Sean Connery was great, but I'd like Max. I watched it in reverse. Just super quick though, because this is really important. Sean Connery's best role ever, the Spaniard in Highlander.
Oh, I love that.
He gave not one single shit. He didn't change his accent at all. It was amazing.
Well, he said he was Egyptian in that movie. So
he was an Egyptian with a Scottish accent, and it was lovely. And Sean Connery's, I agree totally with John. He did not care. He's not like Lughah al-Arabiyya. You want to speak like Egyptian mostly? He's like, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna have my Scottish accent. I've got the Scottish accent. I'm like, okay, man. He's like, you're correct. I was like, Critical Drinker would be proud. I don't know if you know Critical Drinker. He's a Scottish reviewer on YouTube. He's hilarious.
Well, we're getting off topic here.
I've got to go. Sorry for interrupting you, Alfred.
Your question was also off topic, so I mean.
I'll see that, guys.
Oh, this is a great movie. The Name of the Rose. That is just epic. That is epic movie. Sorry, Alpha Eagle. Go on.
Well, my point is that I bring it up is because everybody says that people on the left say that Indiana Jones punches Nazis in those movies, which I mean technically he does, but they are not the bad guys. It's not a political movie at all. The Nazis themselves aren't the bad guys. They're stooges. They're goons at best.
I'm on the left, and I've never heard that before.
What's that? That Indiana Jones punches Nazis?
Yeah, I guess like right now, like politics, like the politics of movies, like I don't know. I don't guess I've studied them.
But Alpha Eagle, you asked me, which I think is more in line with some of the debates that happened today. You said that you had some questions for me about morality. Would you rather do that? Because honestly, whatever the interpretation is of the freaking Indiana Jones movie, I don't think it changes much. It's just a silly movie, and that's it.
Well, I'll get to that, but it's very religious. I mean, what is Indiana Jones's biggest fear? Snakes. Who the devil pretends to be a snake in the Bible, correct?
Well, that's debatable because the Jewish narrative is just a snake. For Christians, that's supposed to be the devil, but to Jews, it's just a snake.
The Indiana Jones is a Christian movie, but anyway, even though it has different religions, then almost every artifact in the Indiana Jones movies is a religious artifact. The Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, the stones were, even though they weren't Christian, were a religious artifact. So it is all. Indiana Jones is almost incidental to the movies. It's God's plan that is working out throughout the movies. And Indiana Jones is just going through the motions, basically.
So I think there is an episode. There is an
very
episode.
Jewish symbol because it's the Ten Commandments. It's like, that's weird. Like, that thing is a very Jewish, like, what a Christian doesn't really understand what the Ark of the Covenant is. That these priests of Israel, like, the sacredness of this item is a very Jewish sacred item. It's just kind of like a footnote for a Christian. Like, it's a very different narrative, but that's, I guess.
Well, the Jewish and the Christian religions overlap.
Because God lived in that box. I mean, like, they carried him around in that box, you know, according to the Bible. Like, that was his stool. Like, you know, like, yeah.
Well, you're just making my point for me. It's a religious movie. It's a religious.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it probably is. It's got some religion in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
most American movies have some sort of religion in them, especially.
No, but religion is the main theme in the movies.
I didn't feel any like religious, like, you know, like.
Well, you didn't pay. No offense, but you didn't pay attention too closely to them.
No, I was.
Yeah, or maybe you're just reading too much into a silly Hollywood movie.
No, I'm not, because, like I said, why would every artifact be religious if it's not a religious movie?
Why not?
Because
they're claimed to have like magical powers.
Yeah, and plus, like, some of the most coveted archaeological discoveries would be some religious artifacts. Like, to find the Ark of the Covenant would just be like I mean, it would change the world. You know, like
right.
Because none of these things that you know we hear about, all these magical things that exist, but we don't have any of them. And
in that world, they do though.
But Max makes a great point here, because it's what American culture connects more easily with.
Yes, the religion.
If he went around hunting for, you know, artifacts from the Aztecs, like, Americans wouldn't really give up.
The sacred yerba mate.
Right.
Mug.
Yeah, the golden gird of power. Yeah, no one was there.
In Temple of Doom, it's not a Christian artifact; it's a Hindu.
South Asian, yes.
But did they find the golden fleece? That's what I want.
No, they don't. Jason and the Argonauts. That'd be hilarious.
But like I was saying, my point is that Indiana Jones himself is insignificant to the actual theme of the movie. That, like I said, it's all about religion. Okay, like speaking of the Hindu people, they prayed to their god to send someone for them, and God sent down Indiana Jones. Now, what was that comment you brought up earlier? Someone said that Indiana Jones was a scientist or an atheist.
Yeah, an archaeologist.
Archaeologist. Yeah.
Well, he actually does use the word scientist in the. He's an archaeologist, but he does say he is a scientist in the movie.
Yeah,
archaeology is a science.
Yeah. Right. But my point is that Indiana Jones is a man who loses his faith and then regains his faith throughout the films. That's what the movie is about.
I think that they found a really good script for Harrison Ford, who was like a really hot actor at that time.
I agree.
And I think they found him a really good script that they thought would play well to audiences, and it would have all of the little.
George Lucas Lucas did not want Harrison Ford. He actually wanted Tom Selleck to play Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford was a second choice.
So I think he did pretty well on the choice. But
he did great. He did fantastic.
I'm sorry, but I gave you a chance. I'm already bored. Do you want to talk morality, or we're gonna?
Well, I am talking about morality. I'm talking about religion. That's morality. That's where morality comes from.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Wait,
referencing a movie I watched 20 years ago that I barely remember.
I'll move on. Maybe we'll come back. But you said morality is subjective and not objective, right?
Yeah, and I have never been able to get anyone to contend with the argument. If religious people claim that morality comes from God, it comes from the mind of God, which would definitionally make it subjective. no way around that.
Explain. The mind of God is objective. It's not subjective.
No, the mind of you're wrong. The definition of objective is independent of minds. Subjective is mind dependent. So if morality even comes from the mind of God, then it is definitionally subjective.
But God's not a man, though.
It doesn't matter. You're a special being.
That's not quite correct. It's stance independent and stance dependent. So it's your stance on something.
Yeah, but I mean, to have a stance, you need your mind, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yes. But so, there's a number of concepts you can hold in your mind that are still objective, like they're objectively true or objectively not true.
Right,
so really
but because they're not subject to your interpretation. Like water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at sea level. That is a mind independent. That is an objective fact, right?
So
what I'm trying to convey is that if people claim that morality comes from the mind of God, I think they're definitionally wrong.
Yes, I would agree. And
depends.
He said that it came from religion too, which I disagree with that too.
That's the question, right? Does it come from religion or does it come from a god? Because those two things are not the same. One is the structured worship of the god or whatever, and one is the actual god themselves. Those two things are not the same. So for Alpha, I would say,
Mark, because there's other options. Like there's other options though. Like that's a false dichotomy. Like that's not the only two choices.
Oh, I'm not saying it's dichotomous. Okay, I'm saying that if you're claiming that it comes from religion, that's not the same as saying it comes from God. That's not a dichotomy. It can come from other things. But I really would ask is whether if you say it comes from religion, well, then it's just a man-made thing, hence stance dependent, right? It depends on your stance as far as what your religion is.
Yep.
So you'd basically be saying if it comes from religion, then it's subjective.
Hey, Mark.
It evolved, and I'm pretty sure you do too. So
hello.
Sorry, super quick. I was listening on my phone as I was heading back to the house, and then you started talking about this, and this is something I've been wanting to touch base on for some time. So I've boxed my kids briefly. Objective and subjective is objective and subjective being stance dependent as opposed to exclusively dependent on minds is really important. The reason being is that we can make objective observations or claims about subjective things. So, for example, the pain scale. When we ask somebody, is your pain better or worse? Like, give us a number of your pain between like 1 and 10. Now, that's a subjective. We're asking a subjective question of a person so that we can compare their pain over a course of time. Like we're looking to, is your pain getting worse? Is your pain getting better? But just because two people say that they're feeling a 7 on the pain scale, because their pain is subjective and it is first person to them, it doesn't mean that when two people say their pain is a 7 that they're experiencing the same amount of pain. There isn't a fact of the matter to be found there in terms of comparing the two pain scales. We can objectively say that both of these people are experiencing pain, though. So we can make an objective claim about a subjective state.
Sure.
And we can do the same with morality.
Pain is still mind dependent. That pain is still mind dependent, yeah.
It's stance dependent as well, yeah. Of course it is.
But of course it's stance dependent because it all depends on your stance of what equals pain 10 and what equals pain 1. It all depends on that stance, yeah.
But it is objectively the case that both of these people are experiencing pain.
Yeah, but it's also affected by how much pain you can take. Exhibit A, I have an armpit tattoo. Yeah. I don't know many people who can take that.
The reason I reference this back to morality is because the Andrew Wilsons of the world will make the claim that there's no objective claims that you can make about morality because morality is the product of human minds. And if it's the product of human minds, then it is subjective. In the same way as the level of pain that somebody is suffering is subjective, you can still make objective observations about pain.
I don't think so. I think that like the objective claims that you make are only in virtue of evaluating what it is that's subjectively good and bad, I don't think you can, like, your stance on what is good and bad essentially makes it meta-ethically subjective. But if you can agree on that meta-ethical standard, if you can say, hey, good is having the most people in the world, or good is this sort of objective, thing, which the amount of people in the world is objective, you can make sort of evaluations in virtue of that. That what is, but it is subjective what you decide what good and evil is. So
and the way I'd go this, so if we stick with the pain for a second, so it is you've got a person who claims to be suffering pain, right? And the pain is subjective, but we can either increase the pain or decrease the pain, and the methodology that we would use to increase or decrease the pain is objective.
Drugs.
Right? So the pain itself is subjective, but we can apply, but it is objective as to if I take this hammer and beat the person around the head with them and the pain increases, then the methodology to determine that we're increasing the methodology is an objective standard, right? So with morality, once you've decided what your axiom of morality is, i.e. to increase pleasure and decrease suffering, then you can make objective claims about how you achieve those goals, even though the goals that you've selected are subjective.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
There's
exactly
a chess.
what I said.
There's a chess analogy with that. But let me read one super chat, and we'll get Alpha Ego.
No, I do have to go. See you later. Nice to see you again, Mark.
See you, John.
Bye.
Yeah, good to see you, mate.
John. Basil Problems for $5 says, please discuss the religious undertones of the Golden Girls sitcom. Did you know Sam Harris' mom was a producer? No, I didn't know that, but thank you so much for that. So, Alpha, does that kind of give you an idea of where I stand?
A little bit. I had a question. You claimed that. Yeah, you claimed that Mother Teresa was a bad person, right?
Yes, she was.
How can you make that claim if morality is subjective?
Oh boy, not this again. Because she had people dying in like really trash conditions, and like you should actually go and look at the countless, at least watch two
of the
countless documentaries on YouTube about that fucking bitch. And look
hang on. Let me
at what she did. Yeah.
I don't want to discuss Mother Teresa. I really don't care. You can think she's a bitch. I don't care. But I'm saying that if morality is subjective, then how can you say what she did was bad?
Because Max has a moral system.
Right. I do have a moral compass that says that if you have someone in palliative care, you're supposed to. Isa is experienced with palliative care. You're supposed to try to make them comfortable and try to ease their pain. She would refuse to give people drugs. She would refuse to give people medication. They would be there lying in their own excrement and their own bodily fluids on the floor. So
right. Okay.
While she was hoarding millions of dollars in donations.
I'm not. You're not understanding my question. I'm not.
I understand the question.
Yeah,
but I answer the question.
Okay, Alpha Eagle. Let's look at it in the paradigm of what Mother Teresa thought was good and evil, because that's basically what you're asking. If her perception and her subjective experience was.
Let me. Maybe I need to rephrase my question.
Okay.
No, we all understood your question.
No, I don't think you do.
Yes,
I do.
Look. I'm open to I mistook his question. Okay, so let him speak and re-clarify what he means.
Yeah. You said that Mother Teresa is objectively a bad person. Is that what you said?
No, I didn't claim that.
No, what
I never claim objective because I don't think you can make objective claims about morality.
He just said Mother Teresa was a bad person. That's all he said. Mother Teresa is a bad person.
Objective.
I agree.
You're starting to go down. You're starting to cross the line of the liars that I don't like.
No, I'm not lying. I'm questioning. I'm not lying.
I didn't say objective ever.
You didn't? Okay. Well, then that's my fault. That's my mistake.
As a humanist, I would say that she objectively, according to my moral system as a humanist, I would say that she was objectively a bad person if judged through my moral system.
Well, how can you say it? So do you see morality as objective or subjective?
I don't believe that. No, I don't believe morality is objective. I believe moral actions can be objective or subjective based on what your system is. But you have to have a system that has a foundation, and you have to have a consistent system that defines what is good and bad by that system. Like, if a humanist, I mean, like increasing well-being and suffering, and I mean reducing suffering, but increasing well-being and increasing rights and increasing autonomy and stuff like that is objectively good in my worldview, like as a humanist. And she crossed every line of that. So yes, from my worldview, my moral system, she was objectively a bad person. But that doesn't mean that in the rest of the universe that she would be seen as a bad person. Only judged through my moral system.
Well, okay.
I don't take that position because it gets you into some problems.
Well, what is your position, Max?
My position is that she was a fucking bitch. According to my subjective criteria, that is not an objective claim.
Okay, but you're saying subjectively she was a bitch, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
but I explained to you why.
Yeah.
I say intersubjectively she is a bitch. So when we look at ethics, for instance, like ethics that cover populations, if we look at most of the people in the world or a large portion of the people in the world, they would all agree that letting people suffer while you have the capacity to help them is being, as Max says, a fucking bitch. So I kind of do credit that if I change my mind and say, hey, that was awesome behavior, Mother Teresa was fantastic because she let people suffer, it would not change sort of the overall expectations of our societies. They would generally agree that that's a bad thing. So it's important to understand that when we're looking across populations, we're looking intersubjectively, not just subjective upon one person's preference or opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, let me ask this. So I don't know much about Mother Teresa, to be honest, but she was treating terminal people, right?
Well,
no,
she thought that
she
suffering,
wasn't treating. She wasn't treating.
She
That's
was
the problem.
providing palliative care. She was caring for people as they died.
The problem comes, right?
The problem comes that under her theology, she thought that suffering was holy. So the more you suffered, the more holy you were. So she was denying sort of pain relief and things like that to people who were suffering because she thought that was holy. But the reason why we can sort of categorically say that she was a bad person was that even because that was her belief, when she got sick, she went over to Western hospitals and got treated and got all of the care available to people in Western societies, and basically was not expected to deny herself treatment for her suffering. So she basically would do the things that she said were bad herself. So that's why we can categorically say you're a bad person, even by your own standard.
Yeah, well, she was under the ideal that these people that she was caring for, because she was caring for people in a third world country, that these people were actually sinful and had been very sinful. I don't believe anybody's sinful, but I mean
I don't know what sin is.
She thought self-inflicted nonsense is what it is. But she thought that these people had sins that had to be washed away or burnt away by suffering. And the thing about it is that there was plenty of donations through the Catholic Church and everything of medications and stuff. Like they've received an immense amount of funding for her to provide these people with anything that they needed to make them comfortable. She didn't even have any kind of basic comfortable place for them to even die in.
Were these people terminal?
Yeah, most of them died. Yeah. Yes.
Well, there's nothing you can do for them though.
You can
wrong. You can make them comfortable.
You can withhold pain medicine from them and not.
We have pain medication. You can do things so that that period between when they arrive at the hospital and when they actually pass away, you can make that less trying than it has to be. And I'm telling you, these people were in their own bodily fluids, excrement, poop, pee, their own vomit. They were barely clothed. They didn't have any kind of pain relief or fluids like IV fluids or anything like that. She was just watching them suffer and agonizing while doing nothing and still raking in millions of dollars in donations.
Yes, and like,
and what did she do with those millions of dollars?
What does the church do? What does the church do with the millions of dollars?
So she gave it to the church. She didn't.
It was it was hers anyway. She was a nun, so she didn't actually own property like that. I mean, like, she got to do whatever.
So she didn't. It's not like she took the money and ran.
Well, it doesn't matter. The thing about it is put yourself as you are a person who is dying. In the third world country, you are dying. You already are in a bad way. You know, like, there was disease going around. There was, stuff like that. And you are dying. And you are the person that she decides that it's better to let you suffer, because she's going to, burn the sin out of your soul so you can get into heaven. So she just lets you lay there and suffer as much as possible, because the more suffering that you go through, the better cleansing of your soul you will go through. Now,
right? So if you have donations to give to people, and instead of buying, I don't know, blankets and bed sheets and paying for nurses and IVs and medication and painkillers and morphine and so on, and you do none of that, you're just it doesn't matter what you spend the money afterwards. Even if you build, I don't know, an orphanage, like, those people still suffered, and that's not how we do palliative care.
Yeah, and I might add that when she was the one that's suffering, that's when suddenly she wants to have pain medication and Western medicine and a lovely place to have when she's suffering. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's the point I was making about why she did that, though, because she saw herself as much more righteous than these people. So she didn't require the amount of suffering to cleanse her soul as these sinful people did. Even though in her books, she actually wrote, that she didn't even think she believed in God, or she didn't hear God anymore. Like, in her later years, she would write in her writings, she claimed that she never heard God ever anymore. Like that, she just.
I think you're a little bit. You don't know, like, the full story. I think you should at least watch a couple of videos, like, for example, Hitchens' breakdown of Mother Teresa, or there's a couple of really good YouTube compilations with evidence. They show you pictures and video of what the situations were like in her houses of death. So I mean, that might sway your point, but yes.
The most interesting.
What I'm wondering at the moment is why we're talking about Mother Teresa. And
because
Alpha Eagle made
I'll tell you
statement.
I had a debate with the Thorpes on MTV, and we were doing the after show, and then the Thorpes came in and started crashing out, and then somehow I was like. Ben was being a bit of an asshole, so I was an asshole back, and I was like, yeah, Mother Teresa, she was a Catholic, she was a fucking bitch, and he lost his mind. And then we went down the whole route. Like, it's a very fun watch.
Oh, that's so funny. And look, the best thing about it is Christopher Hitchens. You talking about him? Christopher Hitchens, okay, when she was given sainthood, and when they are going to saint those people, they have where they gathering, like a bunch of the cardinals or whatever and stuff, and they vote on it, and they have people that speak for the sainthood of this person, and then sometimes they have people speak against it. And they actually asked, the Catholic Church had Hitchens come to that council and speak against Mother Teresa on why she should not achieve sainthood. and he did, and he was proud of it. She still got sainthood though. But
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like you said, that you guys claim that morality is subjective. So I mean, it's up to the Christians, whoever they choose to say is moral or not.
Okay, what's up to that's all right. Y'all can live by your morality.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
that's fine. That's why I mean,
choose
that's
to
fine.
ignore. You can choose to ignore suffering done on purpose. That's your prerogative.
Yeah,
but I don't need an objective metric to be able to confidently say Mother Teresa was a fucking bitch.
I know, and I don't need a Christian like what you think is moral, like should rule like your morality, not mine.
But I do have a question for you, Alpha. I did want to clarify, as I did earlier, like where your morality comes from then, if not sort of a a place of, well, you decide what you want to achieve and evaluate morality against that. Where does it actually come from?
My morality comes from God.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it comes from God. So is the morality what God dictates to be true, or does it come from some other place?
Well, what's God dictates to be true.
Right. So God's stance, like if it's God's stance that, killing is immoral, then it's immoral, right?
Well, you define killing. I mean, there's some kind.
Any kind. It doesn't matter what it is.
No, because there's a difference.
Okay, it doesn't matter what the example
killing,
is,
there's
Alpha.
murder, there's war.
Okay. If God dictates that shellfish is immoral, his stance is that is immoral, then it's immoral, right?
To what, eat shellfish?
Yeah.
Sure. If that's what God dictates, sure. That's sort of divine command theory, right? If God establishes something, then
you're about to fall in a trap. Let me just tell you that, like, beforehand.
No, I know he's trying to trap me. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, and you are going to have to bite the bullet, because if God comes and tells you go and kick that baby, then you should have.
No. It's just if it's reliant on
God often tests your morality.
Where do you get access?
Well, that's fine. Like, hold on. Could I speak for myself instead of people saying this is what I'm trying to do? Like, seriously. Okay, so the point is, if what God commands and what God's stance is, life, so God says, hey, it is immoral to do this thing, then that is his stance, and then it's still subjective. The subject is God, right? The one whose stance it is God. And you can say, hey, he's powerful enough that is, his stance overrides everybody else's. Fair enough. But then what you've got then is a might makes right system. It's just that he's the most powerful, so it's his subjective stance that is the one that we should be listening to. But it's still subjective.
It's not his subjective stance. It's fact. It's truth. It's objective. Okay.
Where do you get access?
So it doesn't come from what God.
These?
Then it doesn't come from what God says. It comes from something else.
Where does it come from?
Well, if God can say, hey, do not worship graven idols, and that's his dictation, right? He dictates that. Then that is God's stance. If you're saying, hey, it doesn't come from God dictating and it's not God's stance, then where does it come from?
Well, no, I did say it was his stance, but you're saying it's coming from.
So it's
then it's subjective.
No, it's not subjective because it's God.
Okay, if you say it's no, okay, that's a special pleading.
Special pleading, yep.
Yeah, and where do you access this objective morality of God?
Well, hold it. Let's explain special pleading first, because basically, like, subjective is defined as stance dependent, right? It depends on a mind's stance. It doesn't matter which mind it is. You're sort of saying God doesn't fall into that category.
God doesn't have a quote unquote mind. God is God,
Nice
God doesn't have a mind.
That's a tautology.
Okay, that's really weird, because a mind is like you're
God
basically
is
saying
a Holy Spirit, is a holy being. He doesn't have as we would define it, a mind. He has.
Okay, I'm really worried, Alpha, because you're sort of saying that God doesn't make decisions, has no autonomy, cannot think for themselves, that they are the equivalent of, mental state of a rock.
Yeah, and you can't say
God doesn't have a physical being, so he doesn't have a physical brain.
How do you know?
I never said anything about a brain. I said a mind. I didn't say anything about a brain.
How do you know all these attributes about a God? That's what, like, where?
And do you want to know what the biggest giveaway that God does have a mind? The fact that he changes his mind on certain topics throughout all of the Bible, which is one of my three. I have three arguments against religious morality. The definitional one, the one that you do not follow God's, there is no objective morality because God changes his mind a bunch of times in the Bible, and the fact that you do not actually follow the moral prescriptions of the Bible. That is my three-pronged argument against religious morality.
Let me bring up, you said people don't follow the Bible, the religious, okay. Well,
yeah, that's what I was talking with a crash out earlier today.
Well, that's true because people are flawless, are not flawless. I mean, they are flawed and they sin. So
that has nothing to do with what I'm telling you. What I am contending is that Christians claim they follow the morality of the Bible, but they don't, because God says over and over that you're meant to keep the law. And the most I've heard Christians say is that, oh no, I follow the 10 Commandments, which is a clear cherry picking. Why are you just choosing those 10 Commandments when you have 603 more laws that you're supposed to follow forever, and which God says over and over and over and over?
Well, maybe restate it. Christians try to follow the laws.
No, you don't even try.
No, you don't try to avoid.
You don't keep the Sabbath.
Yeah.
You don't stone. You don't keep the Sabbath.
You're not speaking for me.
Hold on. You don't keep the Sabbath.
You on Saturday.
1 second. You don't keep the Sabbath. You don't stone adulterers. You don't do a lot of the moral prescriptions in the Bible. That is just a fact.
Yeah, that's true. Not all, but that makes us. So it's not objective. Listen. That makes us sinners. That means we have to atone for our sins, which means we have to ask God for forgiveness for our sins.
Well,
so if we don't follow the Bible exactly, it's okay because we can ask for forgiveness.
Right. So you're free to just cherry pick whatever the hell you want.
No. We like I said, we try, but we fail.
No. But my contention is that you don't even try. When was the last time you stoned an adulterer?
Or even attempted to stone an adulterer.
That's just one. And no, I've never stoned an adulterer.
I mean, it's 613. Do you really? Do we have to ask you the 612 remaining? Can we do like a general thing? Because I mean, we can do that.
I am a sinner. What do you want me to say? I don't understand.
What day do you worship Sabbath on your day? What day?
It's not about
that wasn't your claim. Your claim was that you try to follow all of these pronouncements.
Yes,
that was what Max was saying.
Don't.
And you don't try to
because just because I fail,
not where
doesn't mean
mixed
I try.
Fred.
No, it's not about failing. It's about you not even trying.
What do you? I do try. I fail all the time.
No, but if you are not even attempting to stone adulterers, if you have ever eaten shellfish, if you what's
mixed
one?
Thread.
Yeah, if you wear mixed threads and stuff like that, like you have done work on the Sabbath and all of that, that means that you're not even trying.
Pick up bigger rocks next time,
right?
I don't understand. I don't understand.
I know you don't understand.
Well, no, I think you don't understand me.
Oh,
I can try all those things and fail.
No, but my contention is that you haven't.
But I'm still trying. Even if I fail, I'm still trying, aren't I?
No, if you tried and failed, sure.
Well, then I'm trying. Then what's your point?
I'm sorry. Are you saying live on the internet? Hang on. Are you saying live on the internet to a public audience that you try to stone people to death?
Have I tried to stone people to death? Well,
that's what you're saying right now.
That's not what I'm saying right now.
Then you don't try to stone people to death, which is the prescription that the Bible gives.
Let me finish. Can I finish?
You haven't even started, my guy.
What now? What was stone? Who what people again?
Adulterers.
Okay. Adulterers.
I mean, those are just one of the groups.
Actually, every one of the 10 Commandments is if you break it, any of the 10 Commandments, the penalty is death for all 10 Commandments.
Is death?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we all die.
I'm talking about
death by execution. Don't be petty. Don't play the definition game with us. It's not going to go well for you.
Yeah.
Be honest. Be honest and answer the question.
What's your question?
You were going to explain how you follow the law, which you don't.
I don't follow the law.
Okay, so you don't even try.
What?
So how can you claim objective morality when you have 613 things that you're supposed to do and you do none of them? You don't even try to do them.
Because I do a lot of them.
Yeah, so you're admitting to cherry picking. So your morality is not from God. Your morality is subjective. You're cherry picking what you like and what you don't, and what our society.
I'm cherry picking what I can do. I
was in the middle of a sentence.
I apologize.
So, and our societies have collectively moved away from the fact that even though the Bible says in the supposed word of God that you're supposed to stone adulterers, we have moved past, we have a better understanding of morality and saying that, oh yeah, maybe stoning people because they had sex with someone else is not the best way. So you don't have objective morality, you have a subjective morality, and you just admitted when you said, yeah, I do cherry pick.
Well, no, listen. No, I'm sure you've heard this Jesus quote before. Those who are without sin cast the first stone. I'm not without sin, so I can't stone the adulterers.
So Jesus' words discounted all of God's laws that the Jewish people had been keeping and stoning adulterers over these laws for since the Mount Sinai, little gathering there when they brought down laws down. So you're saying that then Jesus comes along, a couple thousand years later and just says, who's not guilty cast first stone or whatever. And that just erases all of the fucking laws that those people have been following for all that time.
No.
And I'm wondering so if you're saying, hey, God's stance used to be that adultery, you need to be stoned to death. Are you saying his stance changed to, hey, you need to be perfect in order to accuse somebody of adultery, so don't do it? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying Jesus said that.
Right, but is Jesus
so
God?
So the moral stance changed, is that right?
No, Jesus is the Son of God.
Is he? You believe in Trinity?
What's the difference?
Are you a Trinitarian? I mean...
Yeah, there's only one God according to the Trinitarian doctrine. I don't know if that's what you follow.
Well, no, I'm a Christian, but I am non-denominational.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Are you a Trinitarian? Do you believe that God is
Father, Son, Holy Ghost? Yeah.
I don't follow any specific Christian religion. I'm just a Christian.
I know.
Just a Christian means that Jesus is God. There's really no way
just a Christian means that I worship Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior.
So is the reason why that? So is the reason why we no longer stone people? Is it because Jesus commanded it?
Jesus didn't command it. He told us that only the person without sin can be the stoner.
So he changed his mind.
That sounds like a command to me.
Yeah.
No, that's not a command. That's not a command. He didn't, because they gave an free will.
You're not very good with words, are you?
So it's moral to stone people to death. Is that what you're saying? It's moral.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
no. Okay. So where does that moral pronouncement come from?
Which moral pronouncement?
That you shouldn't stone people to death.
If you're a sinner, you shouldn't stone people to death.
Okay, I thought everybody was.
Where does that come from? You're not answering my question. You're just basically saying, hey, you shouldn't do this. Where does that moral moral law that because you're saying it's objective, right? Which means that it's a moral law. It actually is an objective thing. Where does that come from?
God.
Is God Jesus?
God is the Father. Jesus is the
Okay,
Son.
so it comes from Yahweh, the Father.
Who made the original law?
If you want to use
Is that
the word
right?
I don't use the word Yahweh. If you care to, that's fine.
Okay,
Right,
well, what, El, or the Father, as in the God
guy.
of the Old Testament, the God of the Old Testament. Look, I really want to get to the bottom of this because I'm so fucking confused right now.
This is so
You mean the God of the Old Testament? Is that right?
There's only one God.
The God of the Old Testament.
Answer that, like, oh my God.
Or is the God Jesus? Because Jesus is supposed to be the God of
yell.
Christians.
I don't understand why don't you understand? There's only one God. What else?
He's a Trinitarian.
Is that Jesus?
Okay.
And you said no, it's not Jesus.
Then the God is the Father.
The God is the Father, right? Which is the God of the Old Testament. What is wrong with you, man? Seriously?
Dude, they can't help but lie.
How am I lying? What am I lying about?
Okay.
You're not answering the question.
Wow.
Like, dude, it's very easy. The Christian doctrine, as per the book of John, the Gospel of John, is that that Jesus is God. That Jesus is God incarnate, humbled himself, God became down to earth.
Knocked up as some teenage girl.
Yeah, to atone for our sins, because Jesus was sinless, because he was basically God. And when we're asking you, is Jesus God? And you tell me no, he's the Son. And then we ask you, okay, the big guy. How if you think that Jesus is not God, for example, let's grant you your argument for just a second. Jesus is not God. He's just the Son, whether you think it's anointed or whatever the mechanics of that is. So now you're telling me that the Son of God, because he said a thing, now he can override the big guy? That makes even less sense, and you're backing yourself into an even deeper corner.
How is he overriding? I don't understand.
Okay, because
the big guy says you're supposed to stone adulterers to death. This is not hard.
Yeah, and if Jesus says the people without sin can stone them, then.
But everybody
okay, then
you said all of us were sinners.
1 second, stop. So this is pretty much the same problem that I have with the other dummy that came before. Now, if you're telling me that Jesus is not God, then what is the warrant to accept Jesus's claim? If Jesus is not God, what is the warrant to accept Jesus's claim that only sinless people are supposed to carry out what the law coming from the big guy is saying? What is the warrant for that claim?
The warrant.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The justification.
That's it. No, we're done. Like,
yeah,
oh
I feel like you're just playing dumb at this point because you won't actually explain what this God is. You're just basically saying the Father. And when I refer to, hold on, let me finish.
Okay,
when I refer to the Father in the Christian theology, which is Yahweh or the God of the Old Testament, who is the Father in the Christian theology, you say no and pretend like you have no idea what I'm talking about. So who is the Father if not the God of the Old Testament, who was the father of the Israelite people?
Isn't that what I said?
No.
Oh well, then
when you said is the Father the God of the Old Testament?
Well, if you want a direct answer, yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would like a direct answer and not this running around pretending you have no idea what we're saying. So if the God of the Old Testament says that the stoning people to death, right, is wrong, and okay, let's just grant that Jesus is conveying morality as it is to people. I'll grant that. That means that he's getting that from God, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. So God has changed his stance on what should be done with people that break the commandments. He's basically saying, and even if it, hang on, let me finish.
Okay,
Even if it goes through Jesus, then he is conveying that it has changed from it is acceptable to stone people to death to God says that it is not acceptable to stone people to death. Correct?
No, because he's saying only certain people can stone people to death.
Only certain people can stone people
I thought
to death.
everybody had sin, though. Like you've
But
already
that's
said that.
okay. Hold it, Robert. Just 1 second, because this is ridiculous. But the stance has changed, right? From before, when God said, "Hey, anybody can stone an adulterer to death. In fact, get the entire town to do it." To only people without sin can do it. That's a change of stance, right?
No.
Oh boy.
How is it?
Nah.
Wow.
Because that's the way it always was. It was only people without sin could do it.
Yeah, that's not what the book says, though.
That's not what the Old Testament says.
Yeah, that's not in the no.
Well, maybe I'm.
In
confused.
fact, if
That's
you're,
what it seems like
it says that in the Old Testament, if your son is lazy and a drunkard, you should bring them before the town center, and the entire tribe will stone them to death.
Yeah.
Are you saying the entire tribe was perfect?
Am I saying the entire tribe was perfect? No.
Then something changed, right?
I think that he knows where this is going. That's why he's doing this dodge.
God fixed it to where you can't follow the law, actually, because he ordered you to stone adulterers, and then he turned around and said only people with sin or without sin can stone adulterers, and then he told us that everybody has sin, and so there are no sinless people who can actually carry out the stoning of adulterers, even though the law says that you're supposed to do it.
I guess, yeah.
That's some jacked up shit right there. Some really jacked up shit. Like that's
but that is certainly a change of stance. And this is what I'm saying, that it is subjective. It's basically depends on God's stance to say, hey, I either accept stoning and then change his mind and says, or he changes it for some reason and says, no, stoning's no longer cool, guys. And that is a change of stance on the subject. So while you're claiming objective morality, it's not in fact objective. It is based upon the stance of God.
Who is infallible?
Doesn't matter. It's still his stance.
So, but his chance hasn't changed because he's infallible.
If God decided that stoning was again cool tomorrow and that, hey, I'm an atheist, so I should be stoned to death, would that be moral?
Well, yeah, that's a what if a scenario.
Yeah, it's called a hypothetical. Yes, it's used all the time when we talk about this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like if you say to me, hey, if people had this idea of what is moral, would that make it moral? Like, and I don't have that problem because I say it's subjective, but you do because you're saying it's objective. But if God decides tomorrow that it is no longer that you no longer have to be perfect like without sin to stone people to death, would that make it moral?
If God changed, quote, his stance, then yeah, that would make it moral.
That would make it moral, which is subjective.
Yep. You're admitting to a change. Now,
I said if it was a change.
Yeah, but you like
not saying it was a change.
The problem is that change has already happened. You're just
it means it is stance. Okay, it means that it is stance dependent, and the stance that it is dependent on is the stance of God. It doesn't matter who it is or what they have. It's that if that stance on the subject changes, that changes the morality, then it is subjective. By definition, it is.
And I would say that God is not infallible. If it seems like I think that I remember like he regretted making mankind.
Yeah.
He also regretted drowning them in the flood as well.
Then he regretted doing that. Yeah.
Regret doesn't mean that he's.
Yeah, no, regret is a failure. It's fallibility. He couldn't find Adam and Eve in the garden.
Oh yeah, when they were hiding. He was like, "Where are you?
Where are you?
Where are you?"
That seems very valuable to me.
Hey, the best part is when he tells everybody to bury their feces so that he won't step in it when he's walking around in the camp.
No. The best one is when he couldn't conquer a tribe because they had chariots made of iron.
Yes.
That was the best one. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, God created free will.
Now,
What about iron chariots has free will?
That is a lame deflection, and that is the lamest deflection because God infringes on people's free will all the freaking time.
Pharaoh
hardened Pharaoh's heart, got the concubines of David just like raped because he was punishing David. So like your whole moral agent punished David by having his wives raped on top of the temple so that all of Israel would see by David's own son. So like, dude, I think that you came here, you came with like a fork to a rocket launcher fight. Just FYI.
That's fine.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would just sort of say, like when you're considering objective and subjective morality, it's important to understand what they actually are. Like when you're talking stance dependent, you're really talking about if somebody's opinion changes about it. And if you're sort of saying, hey, well, God, it's not his subjective opinion, it's objective, then you're kicking the can down the road because he's got to get it from somewhere else to tell it to us. So then it becomes, well, where's he getting it from?
Yep. Okay. Algorithm says, how much longer before we get to arguing how many angels can fit on the head of a pin?
Look, mate, that was the Euthyphro dilemma. It's been a massive thorn in the side of any kind of argument about God's morality for about, I don't know, about 4,000 years or so. So it's yeah.
Max B, been a member for 4 months. He's never read it. And he yelled it. So hold on, let me do justice to the message.
He yelled it, so it has to be true.
Audio warning.
No, I get you.
No, he never read it. That's
okay, gotcha.
I'm sorry. I yell. Everyone knows that.
I just want to say that you're talking to a former atheist here. I used to be an atheist myself.
No, you weren't.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm trying to say that I don't mind your criticisms of God.
You're stepping into
I'm just
you're stepping
curious.
into liar territory now.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know this man's background. I wouldn't presume.
Yeah, but every time a Christian says I used to be an atheist, they're lying.
I used to be a Christian.
Hold on. Yeah, and people did used to be Christians. People used to be atheists. But I'm wondering how that relates to the subject of morality. Like you're sort of saying it as, well, I used to be an atheist and I've seen these arguments, but you don't seem to really have an answer to them.
No, because I'm not a perfect Christian. I'm not an expert in religion. I didn't really come here to talk about my religion. I came here to talk about Indiana Jones, but you guys moved it on to religion.
Yeah, because that
wasn't it Aftershow DebateCon. I'm a bit
confused. This is the Aftershow for DebateCon. We just have people randomly popping up with.
Well, I asked you if that was okay if I came in and talked about Indiana Jones, and you said yes.
And we came in, we talked about it, and then I asked.
How did morality come up then?
Because he and I had talked before, and given that you were here, and Indiana Jones is and like a Hollywood movie is an incredibly deep topic. I wanted, like, he asked me a question about my morality. Because
I see.
Like he clearly was never an atheist because he was asking me like, how does your morality work? And if you had been an atheist, you would have known, because my argument is the default argument. I don't have any wacky views on morality or anything like that. So that's why I've been saying that you're lying. And then what also gives me the indication that you're lying about being an atheist is that now, like you were an atheist and now you're convinced by something that you know very little about. Like, how did you get convinced that God exists when you don't know the Bible too much? You don't know like the stances of morality. You don't know the atheist objections to the Christian claims if you were an atheist. Like, so that's why either you were just non-religious, not an atheist, and then you converted for who knows why.
I was raised Christian, and then I became I considered myself an atheist. Maybe you might call me agnostic or non-religious or whatever. And then I became a Christian again.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
All right. Well, what convinced you to the first time to give up?
Yeah, that was a question. No, not the the journey. How did you get convinced of God being real?
Well, first I want to hear what convinced him to become an atheist.
Yeah.
What convinced me to become an atheist is I don't know. I guess I was kind of maybe depressed at the time, and I felt that God was mad, or not God, but that the life in general wasn't fair. I guess I don't know. I just was angry.
Did you ever? Was there ever a time in any of that you actually believed that there was no God? That you did not hold some sort of belief, whether you were mad at him or disappointed in him or questioning or whatever. Did you ever come to the conclusion that you did not believe there was a God?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So then what convinced you to believe in that God again?
Oh, well, several things. One of the main things was that I found out that there's really not much such thing as a coincidence, that things happen on a purpose. That God had.
There's literally coincidences that happen all the time.
Okay, so what convinced you? What convinced you that there was a purpose for everything?
Okay. My father had dementia before he passed away, and
I'm sorry to hear that. That's awful.
Well, thank you.
I mean, yeah, that sucks.
But
yeah,
like when he did have dementia before he passed away, he would wake up in certain hours of the day, and I would then wake up too. So, but I wouldn't wake up for a reason in my mind. But he was awake at the time, so I was like, why am I awake? Oh, he's awake. So I was woken up. I thought I was woken up by God to take care of him because he was awake at the time.
Okay, so you took care of your father.
Yes.
During this period, were you the only caregiver he had?
No, my whole family took care.
Okay, but like you were aware that in the like he probably woke up often, right, in the middle of the night, because I take care of a woman with dementia right now, and she sleeps a lot during the day and stays up and wanders around all night long.
Right.
And so you were aware of this, right? When you went to bed,
I wasn't aware that dementia caused that.
I know, but you became aware after taking care of your father for a period of time that he was waking up in the middle of the night often and getting up and okay. So when you went to bed, you did not go to bed with the knowledge that your father was not going to be up walking around in the middle of the night unsupervised.
Not at first, but yeah, later on that come to me. Yes.
So did you wake up more often?
Yes.
After you figured this out.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, like, it seems to me like that is just something that, you became aware of that situation and your body adjusted to it. I mean, like our subconscious retains that kind of knowledge. I mean, like I had children, babies. You know what I mean? Like I slept like a log before I had babies. And then after I had babies, guess what? All they had to do was like move or raise their arm or whimper a little bit. And I was wide awake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I have a turtle and a cat. And the cat wakes up like when when the sun starts coming out, and now it's almost summer, so it starts very early in the morning. At like 4:30, the sun is already like starting to shine through, and the cat just go zoomies. And I can be very hard asleep. And as soon as I hear the cat flipping the turtle, I wake up like that. And I know, like, oh, fuck, the cat flipped the turtle. But
that's what your brain does.
I'm sorry, because I am alert at that the cat attacks the turtle. Now, the problem I have with that kind of thinking, and I'm sorry that I have to do this to you, is that you're saying that God infringed your free will and woke you up to take care of your father. My problem is that if we follow that line of thinking, God gave your father dementia. And I don't know how you can make an argument that that is good.
Well, I didn't say it was good. It is what it is.
Right, but you believe that God is good, right?
Yeah.
So he's good enough to wake you up, but also good that he gave your father dementia. How can you parse that?
Well, like I said, my father. Well, you're not gonna like this, but everybody dies, of course. So that was just God's.
Yeah, I mean, but dying is not torture.
I don't think old people getting dementia is a good thing. I think it's awful and tragic, and I would do anything if I could stop it. I don't know why God wouldn't. But maybe that's something to think about. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna bow out. By the way, and it was nice to talk to you all.
Love you. I miss you.
Love you.
Yeah, nice to talk to you, Alpha.
It sucks that we kind of stream at the same time, but
I know. I just dropped in.
Yeah. No, I know.
See you, Mark. Have a good one.
Whenever we're like in the middle of the week, I'll go live and I see that you're live, and it's like it kind of sucks that we stream at the same time. But
it's fine, mate. It's fine. Yeah, love you back.
All right, thank you for dropping by. If you haven't watched MDD, you can go to the beginning of the after show, and we do give a little. Oh shit, he left. Never mind.
Did you see? I was explaining this by go to Maxim. When I was a Christian, I used to believe that God punished people who were good, who had been they had committed sin in their lifetime and had but they still were going to heaven. And so I was convinced that the only way that God could make them pay for that sin is to make them suffer in that period before death, or to put trials on them in their life. But it seemed like to me that my grandma would, suffered because I thought that she had committed some sort of sins that God had to cleanse away before he would let her into heaven. And so do you think that that's maybe how you felt about that?
Do you think I thought that God was punishing my father?
Well, burning away their sins. There's a few things before you get into heaven that you have to pay for. And so that I used to be convinced that that's why that he let old people suffer a lot of times, that they were people who were going to heaven and they still had sins that they had not actually been cleansed of. And so they went through that trial at the end of their life to clean off that slate,
do I think that God was cleansing his sins?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Well, I never really thought about that.
I mean, I had to think, I had to sit down and because this bothered me. Mm-hmm. This was something that really bothered me about this God. That good people seemed to suffer. That following this God's laws and everything didn't seem to make your life any better, and necessarily. So, and so, you could be with the most devout person and you would still end up suffering, before you died, or you would end up being poor and stuff, or you would end up getting cancer. Mm-hmm. And I never did understand that, because I never did understand why, if following the law of this God as close as you could with your heart, I felt like my grandparents did and stuff, that should be a place where you get more punishment than just the person that doesn't pay attention to what God says.
Well, everybody suffers, so no one is without suffering.
But people do not suffer on equal amounts.
True.
I mean, like, there's a huge difference in suffering. I mean, I agree that yes, everybody has suffering, and I don't belittle their suffering, but I mean, I can say that I can objectively point to periods in my lifetime where I was suffering much worse than I am at other times, even when I'm suffering both times.
Well, you overcame it, right?
I know. I don't know what you mean by overcome it. I'm sure I'm probably not done suffering in this lifetime. Well,
yeah.
Really, like Trump is the president. I will be suffering for the next 3 fucking years. So,
no. Let me stop you there real quick. Why would you be suffering under Trump? I don't understand.
No, for fuck's sake, no, we're not going down this.
You gave me this. No.
If you don't want it, that's fine. If you don't want to, but I don't understand it myself. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh my! I mean,
you don't understand. You don't understand Trump.
Now,
you don't understand suffering.
So I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Like when you're like, I've been an atheist my whole life. I'm so hidden. I'm not even baptized. So it is kind of offensive when you come in and you say that, oh, I was an atheist. So especially when you are like an American and you were raised Christian, and then you had like a little bit of a rebellious face and you went around saying that I don't believe in God, probably to spite your parents or some shit like that.
No,
it is kind of offensive. No. It is kind of offensive to me that you say I was an atheist and you don't really know because you were asking me. I was
just using the wrong word. Maybe I was an agnostic or non-believer.
Agnostic or non-religious, yeah. So
maybe I just used the wrong word.
You're a backslider.
That was a tip that I was going to give you. Either like make a softer claim that you were doubting your Christianity for a while or so on, but claiming that you were an atheist, like atheists believe there is no God.
Yeah,
right?
you were
I felt I did at the time.
That's backsliding. Is what that is. That's just backsliding.
But then, like, did you ever do you know like any of the arguments as to why we believe there is no God? Like you didn't know. You don't know the
I'm sure I haven't heard all the arguments, but I've heard some.
Yeah. Right, but then, for example, why did you ask me about my morality? You didn't develop a morality. You just claim
because I was confused. I didn't. I thought when you said objective morality, I thought you meant like you could say that I thought you were saying that Mother Teresa was objectively a bad person. That's what I thought. I was confused.
But I never said that. That's kind of the problem.
Well, I thought that's what you meant. You implied it, in other words.
No,
you implied it.
Nope.
Well,
never
then I was wrong.
Can I ask you another question?
I would never say that. Hold on, Robin.
Okay.
We have Duck here. Hello, welcome.
Yeah. Duck.
Hey, what's up? Good to see you, everyone. Thanks, Max. Hey, Robin, good to see you.
Hey, Duck.
What's up?
What up? What up?
All right, we are. The after show really went mega. What's on your mind, Doc? I haven't met you before, so nice to meet you. And we'll do final thoughts, and we'll be on our way because I have a chicken curry leg ready to be devoured by me.
So, nothing. Yeah, just. I mean, I just heard. I caught what Robin was saying, and my thoughts. My hope for DebateCon is just that people have good conversations. Definitely that. And yeah, I think based on like kind of what Robin was saying is like, yeah, a person is tough. A person can be tough and stuff to endure suffering. But it's also the case that there are causes and different types and explanations and ways to think about suffering and stuff like that. And so that's always something like in reality, I actually worry about that stuff a bunch. It's because it's like, it's not that I don't want people to go through like all the stuff that, not like what was me that I went through, but it's also like, well, if some suffering is preventable or it's purposeful for like, without like the Opus Dei connotations, that kind of stuff. That stuff's cool.
Sorry, I had a booty call. I mean, yeah, I always like joke about Isa getting booty calls. Now I am getting one, so I have to admit it. Like, yeah, booty calls. It's like 4 a.m. and she's still awake, which is fingers crossed. So let's do final thoughts. Robin, final thoughts. Ladies first.
Oh, this has been fun. Thank you. I was just miss you and Issa so much.
Oh, I miss you too. Hope you get better, and keep that red wig safe for when I get myself over to the US.
It's over there in the corner, like on my lamp. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Alpha Eagle, final thoughts.
Well, first I want to thank you for allowing me in here.
You guys. I mean, if you keep it civil and you're not like a douche like the other guy, I'm fine. I'm cool to have a conversation with. But I have a very short fuse for liars and people who refuse to answer just like basic questions.
Okay. So. And well, I wanted to ask you a question real quick. You had the first amender on here a couple days ago.
Yeah, he's my friend.
He's okay. He's always asking me to debate him, and he's always asking me to call into his call-in show, and I don't like to do this. I prefer it this way. So if you can host a debate between us, and work it out, I would appreciate it.
I can definitely do that. I agree. I understand that it can get a little bit. There is an imbalance in power when you when you like literally come into someone's house. So I am more than willing to help to actually host it, or like I might be biased because like Amanda is my friend. I can get either Dr. J or Isa to like moderate that debate, so I don't like you might get a more unbiased moderator than me.
Okay, how are you guys want to do it?
Do you have what do you prefer to communicate, Discord or email?
Discord or email? See, probably email.
Okay.
Well, I don't check my email too often.
I just need a way to get like a date from you, and I can coordinate
in private chat.
I need to coordinate with Amanda, Dr. J, or Isa, so that we come on, and we need to coordinate with you. So an email would be the best way, or I don't know if you have. I mean, Discord actually would be better, but I'm going to give you my email address here. It's very easy. It's my nickname, .dj@gmail.com, and you can email me there, and we can more than happy to host you guys. And I would actually prefer if Isa or Dr. J moderated that one, so that you get a more unbiased moderator.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Any other final thoughts regarding the conversation we had, DebateCon or whatever?
Well, yeah. Can I ask real quick? What are people's predictions? I know Andrew Wilson is like a big name headliner. What are people's predictions for? Do we think orthodoxy should or ought to gain ground because of Andrew's showing in Nashville?
No.
I think Andrew will be a douche after DebateCon's over. That's my prediction.
He's a really bad exponent of Christianity. Yeah. If I had to choose between the Pope and Andrew's version of Christianity, I would definitely be a Catholic. Andrew is like not a good showing for Christianity at all. But Alpha Eagle, final thoughts.
Well, I just wanted to say, I hope I don't offend you by saying this, but I just want to say God bless everyone here.
Nah, that doesn't offend me.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. I'll get in. Take a note of my email, send me a quick hello, and we'll get that debate with Amanda sorted out.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. Thank you for coming and keeping it civil and not being like the other Christian we had today. Doc, I'm going to read a couple of messages and get ready. I'm sorry that you came on the tail end of the show, but we've been going for almost 4 hours. And even though Max, for $5 Singaporean says, 1 more hour, Max, I want to eat. I had dinner like before because I was stuffing my face during the debate, and then it ended, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And I like finished, but I want to have like my what time is it? My 5 a.m. dinner, and then Max also said, trying to bribe me for $2 Singaporean. Thank you so much. 30 more minutes. Damn you, Max. Damn you. Now you make me feel guilty. Make me feel guilty because of that. All right, Duck. Any final thoughts on DebateCon, or if you were watching anything, any of the stuff we talked here?
No, I'm being rude. I feel like I'm I'm rude. I came up in the 4th hour, so my bad.
That's not rude. It happens. Don't feel bad. It happens. If you want to, we're doing an after show tomorrow, another mega after show. Probably won't go as long because I have to work Monday morning. But if you want to come and discuss, if you watch the debates and you want to come and discuss DebateCon, we can talk about it. People, before we go, make sure to do the social thing is like, share, subscribe, send it to a friend, send it to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your street, and you subscribe to Yerba Mate Talks. And that way we can share the love for the channel. Thank you, everyone on the panel, except Drew, fuck you. Everyone way over there in the audience, love you so much. Thank you for all your support. We'll be seeing you tomorrow. Have a nice day, and hopefully tomorrow we have some more juicy debates. Take care. Have a good night.